met him even before I knew I was coming to Belgium. I also want to recognize all other ambassadors around. I didn't get to know everybody who is around, but I saw my friend Philip Thigo. He did not even say hello to me. My friend, Honorable Nyango. Let me say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for asking me to speak. It's only last week that I was meeting a governor of a region here called Bruges, and we discussed about Mombasa. But that is not what is going to be my speech today. My speech, when I was talking to Mahmoud, he told me to talk about artificial intelligence or emerging technologies with respect to some article that I had done. So I would briefly address it and then say a few things. My argument has been that these emerging technologies can help us to deal with issues of poverty comprehensively. I'm not only talking about poverty, but I'm talking about the Sustainable Development Goals, because issues about sustainability have become very critical. But to deal with issues of poverty, and I can see the discussion here is focused on the Pwani we desire, and that's what I will focus. But at the same time, commend Ambassador Martins for bringing the word peace into these discussions. Why? Because we have the power to change things, and to have peace, everybody must be able to feed, everybody must be able to get a living, and that's why we meet regularly to see where we can dig the opportunities. Opportunities lie in the emerging tech, in the sense that if we look at artificial intelligence and the data analytics, those two alone, we can sort out poverty. If I were in the room right now, I'll be asking questions like, how many of you know the most consumed fish from the Indian Ocean? If the master of ceremony can ask how many of them know, I'll be very happy.
I'm asking for you right now. How many of you know the fish that is most consumed in the Indian Ocean? Let me see by show of hand. You might get a ticket to Belgium. You never know. Huh? So let me see. I can see a hand, Professor. Just wait for the answer. Just wait for the answer. Yeah, which one? Ona. Ona. Tuna or what? Or una. He said una. Let me get one more answer, Professor, for you. Which one?
Red snapper.
Red snapper or napper?
The second question is that what brings the entire world to the Indian Ocean for fishing?
Yeah, what brings the entire world here for fishing to the Indian Ocean? Anybody with an answer? Anybody? Yes, there's one here, but he looks like a professor. But let me ask you to answer. Yes, what brings them here?
It's peace. Peace.
Peace. He said peace. Amani.
What fish? Ask him what fish. What fish that brings everybody to fish?
Oh, what fish brings everybody here? Shark. He says shark.
No.
Yeah, this one.
Now I can see why we are poor. So I will say between, and this is what leads me to my speech. Between January and July, most of tuna is in the eastern seaboard of Africa. That's how you see most ships from the east come there to fish that fish and take it away. For those of you who have Google, can check what one tuna fish cost in Japan. It ranges between $2,000 and $5,000. And all that comes to the eastern seaboard, which I think led to to the Somalis fighting and having all that stuff that happened in that place. So why I'm saying this is because we need to have data on our resources. With the data now, we know what to exploit and be able to benefit from. So when we talk about data analytics, is to understand what is it that we have, how can we exploit the resource and create wealth, meaning we deal with issues of poverty. So I don't need to show you the PowerPoint on AI and data analytics, but I think you have simply understood. Now, when I went to meet the governor of a place called Bruges, and I'm hoping Ambassador Madens can widen this, one of the discussions we had, he's a friend of Kenya, he comes to Mombasa quite often. He gave me an open invitation for the governors in the sense that we can exploit the fisheries in the region, create jobs for young people. The country Belgium gave us the research boat in Mombasa which collects data. The questions I was asking, now we can easily do with young people, putting drones into the sea and knowing what fish, where that fish is in common, meaning then we can reduce the randomness of our fishermen from just going into the sea to fish, meaning that if we know the patterns of the fish where they pass, then we are beginning to optimize our resource in that part of the world. I didn't want to go into that level of detail, but once we get young people to be trained how to use those drones in the sea, they get to learn more on what we can take advantage of, create jobs, create wealth, and remove poverty. If we agree to go that line, then I can spend more time with young people to explain how data can help us make decisions that optimize resources. Yes.
Just 1 second. The governor is just coming in. We want to appreciate him as he comes so that at least that point or for him to listen to, you can now share it then. Let's appreciate the governor right here. He's coming in. His Excellency Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir. We can give him a standing ovation. Thank you so much, Governor Karimu Sana, Governor Mombasa County. Welcome, sir. And you're just right in time. Thank you so much. There you go. Asante sana. Asante sana. Karibu sana, Governor. You may have your seats even as the governor as well settles in. Thank you so much. This is His Excellency Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir. Karibu sana, Governor, and welcome once again. It's good to see you again here. Very quickly, Professor Bitangendemo is actually the one speaking to us, and he was very keen to ensure that you listen to something that he's saying all the way from Belgium. So, Professor, if we can have you back, if we can have the Professor back online, so that now we can proceed on. Welcome back, Professor. If you can go ahead, please.
Governor, I'm very happy that you have joined. This is to confirm that I also stood up when you walked in. And I am very happy that you came into the function because I've been a member of Pwani Innovation for many, many years from the start. But now we are getting into a level where we want to take advantage of technology to exploit the resources that are within our reach. I've been talking about the sea, and I said that the governor of a region here called Bruges gave me an open invitation for you, sir, and Ambassador Madens can deepen that because he understands this very well, that they want to work with us to deploy drones into the sea. We begin to understand the resources that we have, and we begin to understand the patterns of those resources. in order to optimize our resources by, instead of sending fishermen to just go with the boat and pray to God that they catch fish, they will be able to get the fish in a much quicker way, and the fish that is in demand, and taking advantage of some of seasons where we have fish that is consumed globally. And I will not force to ask you that whether you would come, but I am hoping Ambassador Madens can get that answer from you so that we deal with it. I've been here 2 years. I don't want to live here without doing something for Pwani, because these are low-hanging fruits we can take advantage of with emerging technologies and be able to remove issues of poverty. That is what my speech was about, that we can deal with SDGs by simply taking advantage of emerging technologies. I don't know how many hours they gave me to speak. I can continue.
You're done now.
But I hope everybody understood that we have this advantage now, that we understand what we need to do to solve the SDGs. Innovation matters when we take advantage of it. If you look at the introduction of internet, it was a base technology. Those who knew how to exploit it, exploited it, made so much money. Then we have come now to this space of emerging tech, AI, data analytics, blockchains, and other things. We must begin to ask, how do we use these technologies to create wealth for our people? Let's begin with the fish industry, begin with Pwani, and be able to extend it to the rest of the country. I thank you for the opportunity to speak to all of you.
Thank you so much, Professor. Let's appreciate Professor with a clap. Yes, Professor, before you leave, what time is it there? Just check in. What time is it there?
Oh, we are behind you.
Oh, okay. Just check in. Just check in.
Well,
Okay.
just to tell you that I was to speak at 8, but I'm happy I've spoken aside an appointment.
Have a good morning then. Thank you so much once again. One more time, let's appreciate Professor with a clap. And thank you so much. Thank you so much once again. Excellency, we have just had an amazing time here in the morning. We were welcomed by Mentor himself, as well as the chair, and then Professor was the third speaker, I mean. And so we have proceeded on with this quick session. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go live in about an hour on live TV, and so have about exactly 1 hour for my speakers who are going to be coming. And because Mentor came and spoke for about 40 minutes, he spoke on behalf of so many of us. So our speakers, we have negotiated with them, they will only come here to just say what was left behind. So thank you so much for that. At Riman's time, I'll only have about 4 to 5 minutes maximum for our speakers. I would like at this moment to just let us listen to one of the youth innovators in the house. And I want us to put our hands together for Lawrence Kosgei, co-founder and managing director, Twende Green EcoCycle. Round of applause to Lawrence Kosgei as he comes quite fast so that at least he can take us through this. Lawrence is coming this way. This is the speed we are talking about of innovators. Welcome. Welcome right here. Makofi tafadhali one more time. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Excellency, the Governor of Mombasa County, distinguished guests, keynote speakers, innovators, and fellow change makers. My name is Lawrence Kosgei. I am the co-founder and managing director at Twende Green EcoCycle. At Twende Green EcoCycle, we recycle marine plastic waste from the informal settlements to make affordable, durable, and eco-friendly school furniture. So these plastics would have ended up into our ocean, affecting the marine life and contributing to the over 8 million metric tons of plastic waste that ends up into the ocean every single year. So we divert this plastic waste from ending up into the ocean to promote sustainable education, environment conservation, community empowerment through job creations, and also to promote circular economy. And we do not just stop there. We also make house furnitures, hotel furnitures, outdoor furnitures, and aside from that, we also do sensitization programs such as door-to-door community sensitization programs to combat marine plastic pollution, and also we also do beach cleanup activities. So I would like to invite you to visit our exhibition booth, which is at the far end there. Please come, collaborate with us, partner with us, and most of all, if you are an advocate of environment conservation, make sure at least you have a coffee table which is made from recycled plastic waste. So it is my great honor to welcome you all to Pwani Innovation Week 2024. Asante sana.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate that innovator Lawrence Kosgei one more time. And as you can tell, he's called Kosgei. You saw how he ran here? Some of you will get it tomorrow. Thank you so much. Another one right here. Hajra Athman, co-founder and business developer, Keynote Africa. A round of applause to Hajra as well as we get to hear what they are doing. Hajra? Yes.
His Excellency, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Hajra Athman, co-founder at Keynote Africa. Keynote Africa, it's a solar tech company that empowers communities through clean and affordable energy by repurposing solar-ready lithium batteries, among other innovations. Through research, we also realized that most companies that are in pay-go business model are failing due to inefficient revenue collection. So we therefore have developed a pay-go hardware and API to help those companies collect their revenues. We also do fishing lamps, whereby we have two types of fishing lamps, one to attract the small fish and the other one to attract the big fish, whereby we are trying to eliminate the kerosene lamps which are used by the fishermen and which are very detrimental to the health of our fishermen. In order to mitigate climate change and solve access to clean and affordable energy, we use the electronic waste, whereby we acquire these cells from US companies. Then we have our own cell tester machine, whereby we test the cells. Then we only take which are 90% okay. Then we repurpose to make our battery packs. Apart from that, we also have some backup batteries for the Wi-Fi router. These are especially for those individuals and companies which need a reliable and uninterrupted internet connection. Okay. So far we've been able to impact more than 300 households with our battery packs. We've also been able to create more than 10 job opportunities to youth and women, directly and indirectly. We've also been able to, over the past 1 year, on our first year, we were able to generate close to 2 million Kenyan shilling from the sale of our products. And as of now, we've managed to scale, whereby we are opening another branch in Nairobi so as to serve the people from Nairobi and other counties. Okay, thank you.
Well done. Just don't go yet. 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 I wanted you to boast and look at all these eyes. This is a very big crowd, and I want to tell you, you are confident, you have done so well, you have made money, over 2 million opening branches. A round of applause. Then because of the powers vested in me, as you go down, say hi to the governor, okay? Go and say hi to the governor. I have given you the powers. Go by there. Yes, there you go. Let's appreciate her. Thank you so much. Everybody has a first time. Sometimes standing before people is not easy, right? Thank you so much for that, and we appreciate it. Did you hear the money? Oh my good, look at it. That photo, never forget it. There you go. Thank you so much. Well done, well done. We're moving on very fast, and in appreciation of talent, very quickly have a 2 minutes breather, and I want us to put our hands together for Shimola Tewa, Boston Institution and Boys Education Center, as they come to quickly give us a piece. Let's appreciate them with a clap to Fadali. Shimola Tewa, very fast, come up very fast so we can do this.
Aye savannah now. Oh my savannah, oh my savannah, oh my savannah.
There you go. Please let's appreciate them. That is Shimola Tewa, Boston Institution and Boys Education Center. Thank you so much. And they're very observant of time. I told them 3.5 minutes, and at the third minute, at 32nd, they stop. Thank you so much for the one more time. Appreciate them, please, with a round of applause. Asante sana. In the house, as you had Professor Bitange Ndemo mentioning, he was once in a while pointing out at the Belgian ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency Peter Martins, and I wanted this moment to ask him to kindly come. I don't know whether I will say to start from where he left you, pointing at you. So please put your hands together for His Excellency Peter Martins, Belgian ambassador to Kenya, as he comes as well to give his quick remarks. And I don't know, tech team, I don't know whether this stage was meant to be at that corner or you wanted to move it a little bit closer this way. Please come so that at least we can have the address happening. And as we do that, ladies and gentlemen, please engage. Engage, and remember the hashtag that we talked about for the day. PIW 2024. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and Governor, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the honor to stand before you at Pwani Innovation Week 2024. This gathering is not just a celebration of creativity and technology. It's a testament to collective commitment to fostering peace and unlocking opportunities for all of us. I actually want to link this year's theme, including peace, inclusivity, and governance, to my history, to Europe's story. By general consensus, we've been told that the relationship between peace, development, and human rights is like a triangle, that one cannot exist without the other. And at the end of the process, that's true. But in the process, I think it's more of a straight line. Peace is where hope starts. Hope is where opportunity starts. Opportunity is where development starts. Development is where human rights start. And where human rights are respected, prosperity is protected. My grandfathers, born in 1895 and 1900, had had to rebuild their communities twice by the time they were 50. They left us an international system where, thanks to the United Nations, war became difficult. Thanks to NATO, war became impossible. But thanks to the European Union, war became unthinkable. And they started building a society where wealth was the subject of equitable distribution. My parents' generation took both of those concepts, peace through cooperation and equitable distribution of wealth, to a next level. Europe and NATO became continental concepts, and the idea of global wealth distribution was developed. And so my generation, and even more the next ones, Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, started taking peace and well-being for granted. Dangerously so, tragically so. But the process is not inevitable or irreversible. As we embark on this journey, we need to challenge ourselves to think beyond conventional boundaries. We need to harness our skills and knowledge to promote not just prosperity, but also social cohesion. And for that, we need to utilize technology to foster dialogue and understanding among diverse groups. If this country and this generation showed us anything in recent weeks and months, it was that. Technology and creativity are the tools with which humanity's next steps will be defined. That being said, true innovation flourishes in an environment of stability and understanding. It's our responsibility to ensure that creativity contributes to peace. I think the EU has shown us that economic cooperation can lead to political stability, and it is the model that we can adapt in other contexts to foster peace through innovation. You know, I've spent many years in multilateral diplomacy, and frankly, I always cringed at the moments when those of us representing countries in the global north were sent out to tell the rest of the world what they had to want, as if we had the monopoly on what is good in the world. Of course, that's not true. We all create our own versions of societies we want to live in. And yes, our model has been extraordinarily successful, with a historically unprecedented period of peace and collective prosperity. But it's been our model, built at our pace. And we can explain how we did it to those who would like to emulate it, and we must defend it for ourselves. But we cannot impose it on the world. Actually, we have to stop trying. There is, however, one thing that we Europeans can very legitimately talk about with authority and strength: how to build long-lasting peace, peace that can actually almost be taken for granted, because that's exactly what we've done for the last 3, 4, or even 5 generations. Let this week be a reminder that every idea, no matter how small, has a potential to spark change. Just as the EU's commitment to peace and cooperation has paved the way for a united Europe, we should embrace the spirit of collaboration and commit ourselves to using innovation as a vehicle for peace and opportunity. Together, we can create a future where innovation serves as a bridge to a more harmonious world. Thank you, and I look forward to the inspiring discussions and breakthroughs we'll all be witnessing this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. I don't know the choice of song because of the age, or what is it? Because I know that song is a 19, but we'll talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I was just checking our governor's handle on X, and I noticed, Governor, I just noticed your X doesn't have anything to do with Pwani Innovation Week, so I'm going to do something unconventional. Ladies and gentlemen, remember what we used to do? The selfie kind of thing? Is it? Yeah, can we do that? Can we do that? And I wanted just a young person to be next to the governor to take that nice selfie. I don't know who I can choose. Who is the youngest around closest? Where are you? But you must have some type of phone. You understand what I'm... You cannot embarrass. So please go ahead. Please, we want that hashtag to know. Please ensure you're taking a selfie. Share something nice about what has happened right now. We need to engage. This is an innovation week. There you go. I knew that would happen. You see that now? Yeah, there you go. So please make sure. I don't know how you will share with the governor so that at least I can see it on his handle. As that is happening, did you take that selfie? You never know what gifts I'm carrying. There you go. There you go. DJ, I know you're burning to make us dance, but hold it. Hold it for a moment. At this moment, ladies and gentlemen, in the next conversation, we want to also invite the Deputy Ambassador, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and His Excellency Khalid is right here. So please put your hands together for him as he comes. His Excellency Khalid Az-Zahrani. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy and pleased to be here today for this very important event. Excellency Governor of Mombasa, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted and honored to your invitation to deliver this keynote address on technology invention driving economic transformation as you mark in the 5th Pwani Invention Week. In the beginning, allow me to inform you that technology invention is one of the key drives of economic growth in Saudi Arabia Vision 2030, whose aspirations are a vibrant society, a thriving economic and ambitious nation. To this extent, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia remains pioneer and successful global model of excellence on all spheres. In this regard, we reiterate that the Swahili Hub Foundation can achieve the Pwani we desire by 1. Embracing development and transformative digital infrastructure, especially high-speed broadband, expanding its coverage and especially within around the coastal cities and improving its quality from time to time. 2. Fostering human capital development by equipping the youth with the right skills needed in the job market through continuous intensive training to raise productivity level of the youth. 3. Embracing green initiative in the coastal region as outlined in Saudi Green and the Middle East Green initiatives involved by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on 27th of March 2021. These initiatives were designed to reduce carbon emissions in the region by 60% through the use of the clean hydrocarbon technology and the planting of 50 billion trees in the Middle East and 10 billion trees in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Number 4, embracing the quality of the life initiative that puts people at the heart of the policy action, creating the necessary measurement tools to integrate the demand and the expectation in that the coastal people and communities place more value and what they are about, especially the youth. Number 5, building talents by fostering the coastal culture heritage at the tourism attraction medium through the concert and storytelling in order to attract tourists as potential investor in the coastal region. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, may I appeal to all of us to collectively put our efforts together in ensure that we achieve the Pwani we desire by supporting the youth, embracing our culture, heritage, and promoting peace and innovation in the coastal region and beyond, leaving on one and no place behind. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate His Excellency Khalid one more time, Deputy Ambassador, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Moving on, we have as well the church represented here, and we have the Secretary General, National Council of Churches of Kenya in the house. So please put your hands together as we welcome Reverend Canon Chris Kenyanjui. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, everyone. This one is a bit short, so I'm trying to make it a little bit to fit my height. It's a good morning for me, and I thank Mohammed, Your Excellency the Governor, the Excellencies, the ambassadors here, our partners and friends in MasterCard Foundation and the other partners here, our young people. Viva! Comrades power. I can hear that. So I'm very happy to be here today to celebrate with you this Innovation Week. This is, I think, my third time to be joining you here so that we can celebrate the innovations of young people. I come from an organization that has worked with young people for 1 century. In the 60s, when there was a big challenge, Governor, about after school what? We did a report where we researched and asked ourselves, after school, what is going to happen? Because we had all these young people who are graduating from primary school, secondary school, but they were not proceeding to the next level. Transition, as you know, is a big challenge in the country. And we proposed a program, which then we called Village Polytechnic. A polytechnic zile za mashinani. We said every village must have a polytechnic. And we started off, and government took up that policy, and now we have a big program of the TVETs that we run across the country today. The second thing that we found out was that once they graduated from the village polytechnic, they did not have the capital to start businesses or to go on if you are a mason or a carpenter. And we started giving them a toolkit, so that if you are a carpenter, you get a toolkit, a full toolkit, so that you can go and get started in the village or in the urban centers that were beginning then. And that's how the Jua Kali sector began in this country. We are very proud to have innovated those two ideas. But now, right now, the challenge is much more. We have the TVETs, we have the universities, we have the schools, we have skilled manpower in this country than we have ever done before. So right now, the challenge is how do we deploy technology? As our ambassador in Belgium has said, how do we apply artificial intelligence? How do we make sure that our pooled labor that is so skilled, so energetic, and so creative can be deployed in employment? So that is something that we are working with our partners to make sure that we get a solution. And especially for us within the churches, we run a lot of the schools in the country, all the way from kindergarten to primary school to secondary school to TVETs and universities. And we are asking ourselves the question, how do we make this happen better? We do have some proposals, especially also for the county governments, now that our governor is here. We are asking the national and county governments to mainstream the SDGs and the policy of government for demographic dividends, because we have a youth bulge. We all know we have a youth bulge, and we are going to have a decade where we are going to have very many young people and fewer children. And this is the time, Governor, for Mombasa County and the whole country to actually industrialize. And we have to choose between two things. When a country has a youth bulge, it can be a blessing, but it can also be a curse. It can be a blessing if we provide jobs, if we provide education, if we provide health, if we provide systems that can harness the power of young people to build our economy as the Southern Tiger economy have done. But it can also be a curse if we don't provide jobs, if we don't provide support system, if our young people are going to stay for 10 years after graduating before they get jobs, if we don't promote the industrial complex that is required to absorb them to work, they are going to slide into poverty. The young people are going to slide into drug abuse. They are going to slide into crime, and eventually that can implode as a country. And therefore, we are here in this Innovation Week. The reason why I don't miss is this is the only place where I find hope, where I find solution, where I might with people like all of us here who are saying, what can we all do together to make sure that our country remains stable? We thank the Belgian ambassador who has reminded us about peace, because peace is important. But peace is rooted in the values of truth and justice. As long as there is no truth and justice, there will be no peace. And therefore, all of us, I'm here to call on us, as in our pursuit for peace, we must remember that we must have truth and justice. And I remind ourselves of the questions that the young people have been asking during the Gen Z protest. Questions of accountability, questions of justice, and questions of truth. These are questions that we can't run away from. I want to conclude by saying that if all of us work together, the county governments, the national government, and the private sector, and the churches and the religious bodies that we have, we can all get a solution so that our young people are going to get solution. This is a time for Kenya to turn around and become the Silicon Valley of Africa, and to become the Singapore of the African continent. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Reverend Canon Chris Kinyanjui, Secretary General, National Council of Churches. Very pertinent remarks about how we include the young people. I must, however, say on a light note, I was worried when he came without a speech, and he's a reverend. Normally when reverends take a microphone, it takes about 30 minutes plus. But thank you so much for really keeping that short. Moving on very well in this final section of our remarks, we have Professor Peter Gishangi, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Technical University of Mombasa. Round of applause to him. And I must say this, that I don't know why the DJ is playing. That's an old one. You know, what are you doing? What are you doing, DJ, honestly? But we'll talk later. Anyway, I was talking to Professor, and he told me he had a speech of about 15 minutes, but he has summarized it to 5 minutes. Thank you so much for that. Welcome, Professor.
Good morning. That signifies I was born and bred in the mountain. So welcome to this session. My name is Professor Peter Gishangi, a Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Academic Affairs, Research and Extension, at the Technical University of Mombasa. But I like to make the disclaimer that I'm a doctor of women. So the ladies in the house, you're in safe hands. Your Excellency, the Governor of Mombasa County, the ambassadors present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm a little bit under the weather, but very happy to be here amongst you to deliver these remarks. This year, Pwani Innovation Week theme, Pwani we desire. Pwani we desire. If you're going to forget anything about this meeting, the Pwani we desire, please carry that message home, because it drives what you wake up to do every day. The Pwani we desire, but more important, look at the components they are in: youth, culture, peace, and innovation. In the decade of action. So you are being called to action. And this is an important theme. It does highlight the power of the youth, culture, peace, and innovation in driving coastal region transformation through collaboration and creativity to shape sustainable future. What is the place of the university in this ecosystem? TUM, as a university, our vision is to advance knowledge. It's to be a university of global excellence in advancing knowledge, science, and technology. So squarely, we are in the right place where technology is being discussed. So ladies and gentlemen, culture of peace reduces intimate partner violence among the youth and improves interpersonal communication within families, contributing to more equitable existence in marriages and in society. In colleges and universities, a culture of peace creates peaceful atmosphere and helps to develop values such as love, compassion, harmony, tolerance, and gratitude. Very, very important attributes which allows us to deliver academia and to allow individuals who come to university to have the free space for creative thinking. Overall, a culture of peace enhances societal interactions, reduces violence, and promotes a sense of well-being and harmony in various aspects of life. I urge the stakeholders and sponsors in this forum to cultivate vibrant innovation ecosystems within Pwani by fostering youth participation, equipping them with relevant skills and knowledge, and creating an environment that retains their talent and regional development. As a university, we are open, and I'm happy the pastor has talked about the village polytechnic. You don't have to be in a village polytechnic to acquire what you'd be acquired in those levels. As a university, we have TUM TVET Institute, which offers opportunity, and this is an invitation, an open call for all of us present here to consider, because at our university, you can be able to take arts and courses all the way to Doctor of Philosophy level. And therefore, the sky is the limit for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, youth should leverage the region's unique coastal economies, and there are many now. We used to talk about blue economy, but we're also talking about green economy. We are talking about orange economy. We are talking about digital economies. So again, the choice is ours. And the rich biodiversity to attract domestic and foreign investment. The young people in this region should also focus on leveraging innovative approaches and adaptive strategies for mitigating the impact of climate change on our coastal communities. Ladies and gentlemen, as a university, we are committed to nurturing the culture of innovation among our students. We recommend the Swahili Port Hub Foundation and its partner for helping to create a widespread culture of innovation and stimulate innovation ecosystem in the coastal region. Your actions will not go unnoticed. As I conclude, I would like to add with the Chinese proverb, when the winds of change blow, some people build walls and others build windmills. The choice is ours. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana. May God bless TUM. May God bless the Swahili Port Hub. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Peter Gishangi, the DVC Technical University, Mombasa, Technical University of Mombasa. Thank you so much once again. We want to quickly move in now to the final session of our keynote addresses. And at this moment, I want to appreciate the presence of the Director National Depository Research right here at the National Museums of Kenya. That's none other than Dr. Taita Terere. And as Dr. Taita is coming, he had alerted me that he had a 3-page speech, but we had a negotiation that he can make it into a 3-minute speech, which he's going to do. Thank you so much. Appreciate him as he comes. As you can tell, he has reduced and left some papers at the back. Thank you so much, sir. Please come by as we do that. Yay.
Okay. Thank you so much. His Excellency, the Governor of Mombasa, the ambassadors present here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I must, from the onset, say that at museum, we say that is where heritage lives on. So I'm privileged to deliver a message and greetings from the Director General of National Museums of Kenya, Professor Mary Kikungu. And I'll go straight to the speech. Honorable guests, innovators, youth leaders, partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to this year's Pwani Innovation Week. It is an honor to stand before you today as we embark on this vital week under the theme, The Pwani We Desire, Youth, Culture, Peace, and Innovation in the Decade of Action. This theme is both inspiring and timely as it captures the aspiration of our region and the global commitment to sustainable development. Based on a shared vision to foster youth development and societal growth in terms of cultural expression and incubation of technology and innovation, National Museums of Kenya is proud to be anchoring Swahili Port Hub at this historical and globally renowned property, the Fort Jesus, which is a World Heritage Site. Indeed, the choice to host this event here is not only significant, but also critical for the long-standing collaboration that both parties desire to enhance. At National Museums of Kenya, our mission is to safeguard our country's rich cultural and natural heritage. However, this goes beyond simply preserving history. It involves ensuring that the knowledge of our past serves as a foundation for shaping a better future, one where youth play an active role, where peace thrives, and where innovation leads us to solutions for the challenges we face. This year's Pwani Innovation Week is particularly significant as it focuses on 5 key thematic areas, that is emerging technology and innovation, climate action, peace, inclusivity, and equity, and participatory governance. Allow me to reflect on each of these, highlighting the critical role museum and cultural institutions play in this conversation. On emerging technology and innovation, innovation is the lifeblood of progress in our region. Pwani is poised to be a leader in this arena. The partnership between the National Museums of Kenya and Swahili Port Hub is a powerful example of how traditional institutions can collaborate with modern innovation to create a unique space for creativity and technology. Museums are not just for repository, as you've heard, I'm the Director of National Repository and Research, but of the past, but are incubators of ideas. Through exhibition, digital archives, and research, we are harnessing the power of emerging technologies to make history accessible, engaging, and relevant to the youth. We are creating platforms where young people can use their cultural heritage as inspiration for new technologies, where through digitization projects, creative media or education programs focus on heritage and innovation. On climate change, as custodian of natural history and biodiversity, the National Museums of Kenya has long been committed to conservation and environmental education. The theme of climate action is deeply connected to our work. Museums are spaces of learning and awareness, places where we can reflect on the past to better understand the environmental challenges of today. We know that youth are the most passionate advocates for climate action. By providing knowledge, resources, and platform for dialogue, we empower them to become champions of sustainable practices. Together with Swahili Port, we will work to engage the youth in climate innovation, whether through green technologies, conservation programs, or cultural initiatives that promote sustainable living in the coastal region. Just one more page. In the decade of action, peace is an essential foundation for development. Museums play a unique role in fostering understanding, empathy, and dialogue. Through the stories we tell, the artifacts we preserve, and the exhibition that we curate, we offer a space for reflection on our shared history and culture. At this critical moment, it is vital that we equip our youth with the tools they need to be ambassadors of peace. This can be done by collaborating with local communities and organizations like Swahili Port to promote peace through cultural exchange, artistic expression, and storytelling, demonstrating how our diverse heritage can be a source of unity rather than division. On inclusivity and equity, no conversation about the future can be complete without addressing inclusivity and equity. Museums as a public institution have a responsibility to be spaces where all voices are heard and valued. Together with Swahili Port, we will work to ensure that young people, regardless of gender, ability, background, have equal opportunities to engage with culture, history, and technology. Through mentorship programs, creative workshops, and collaboration with schools, we aim to create pathways for all youth to participate in the innovation ecosystem. Finally, on the participatory governance, the concept of participatory governance is key to the Pwani we desire. We believe that for innovation to be meaningful, it must be driven by communities it seeks to serve. Yeah. National Museums of Kenya is dedicated to engaging the public in decision-making processes and creating opportunities for youth to have a voice in the governance of cultural institutions. Through initiatives such as community outreach, public consultation, and youth leadership programs, we are fostering a culture of participation that ensures that governance is not only for people, but by the people. With the support of partners like Swahili Port, we can amplify the voices of youth and ensure their ideas shape the future of our institution and our region. As we look ahead to this week of innovation, let us remember that the Pwani we desire is one that celebrates its heritage while embracing the future. It is a Pwani where the youth are empowered, where culture and peace go hand in hand, and where innovation is inclusive, and where governance is participatory. This is the vision we are working towards, and it is a vision that is within our reach. I encourage each and every one of you to fully engage in the discussion, workshops, events throughout the week. You are also welcome to visit our iconic and World Heritage sites here in Fort Jesus Museum and other sites and monuments in the coastal region. Let us collaborate, share ideas, and work together to build the Pwani we all desire and our beloved nation. Thank you, and I wish you all a successful and inspiring Innovation Week. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, Dr. Taita. That must have been one of the fastest coming from the museum, you understand. Thank you so much for that. I know I had to push him a little bit faster. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said again, at 11 o'clock we're going live, so I have about 10 minutes or so, and so the next remarks, I'm not worried about them. They're going to be very fast, so please put your hands together for Hannah Sadiq, Country Director, MasterCard Foundation, and she's going to be right here to really as well address us, and they are one of the key persons who have made this event possible. So you better appreciate them better, at least with a better round of applause. Thank you so much. So, Hannah, welcome.
I just wanna live my life. Baby, should live your life.
I think this is fine. It's perfect. Thank you. Does this music mean that I'm very young and cool? Is that what it means? Very good. Very good. Your Excellency, Governor, distinguished guests, and the young people of Pwani, good morning. Good morning, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Hannah, and I'm from the MasterCard Foundation. We are so excited to gather here with you and to talk about innovation, talk about change, talk about what young people can bring to this ecosystem in the Pwani region. And I want to salute the Swahili Pot Foundation for all that you do and all that you enable. So Chief Mentor, Alkidan, the whole team, thank you for what you are enriching in this area. We really appreciate it. This morning, I'm coming to speak to you about young women. I've been asked to speak about breaking barriers, empowering young women by unlocking pathways to employment and entrepreneurship. So young ladies in the house, this one is for you, okay? Can I hear your voice? Excellent. This topic is very dear to our hearts at the MasterCard Foundation. You see, our work here in Africa is focused on young people solely, and we have something called the Young Africa Work Strategy. The goal is to enable 30 million young people to access dignified and fulfilling work. Not any jobs, but works that is dignified and fulfilling. Here in Kenya, we've said we're going to support 7 million young people to access dignified and fulfilling work. And we're targeting that 70% of that 7 million will be young women. So 5 million young women in work by 2030. It's a bold target, we know that, but we know with partnership with all of you in this space, we can do it. We can do it. And especially because young people yourselves, you are motivated to change your lives. All you need is a little bit of a push, and we are here to support you with that push. Thanks to the work of our partners, we have enabled over 1.8 young people to date to access work. And this is through various education and skilling programs, as well as entrepreneurship support. And we have several programs here in the Pwani region. And I'm happy to speak with some of you about what we're enabling right here in the coast. It's progress, but we want to do more. The need is great and it's urgent. Young people are telling us we can't wait. We need to see that change now. So we are really championing this cause together with you. And we want to do more in terms of reaching rural areas. How do we reach beyond Nairobi, Mombasa, beyond the tarmac? How do we work with young people who are living with disabilities, those who are displaced, refugees, and young women? So let me come to young women. Why do we focus on young women? There are some statistics are going to scare you a little bit, and I'm going to share it, but then I will tell you the upside, the bright side of the story. 53% of young women in Kenya live in what they call multidimensional poverty. 23% of young women aged between 15 and 29 are not in employment, not in education, or in training. 93% of women-owned biasharas, businesses, are informal. Young women are very entrepreneurial, but they can't access money. Only 9% of women-led MSMEs have access to formal finance. So young women are disproportionately informal and unfinanced. And this statistic really hits me, which is that 47% of young women experience violence. And that means about half of us in this space have experienced that. So it's an uphill battle for many young women in terms of accessing employment and entrepreneurship. So what do we need to do to level the playing field, to close the gap, so that all young people can thrive and prosper? I want to share with you the opportunity if we invested more in young women. Already, young women in Kenya, all women in Kenya contribute about 40 to 50% of the economy, despite all the obstacles that they face. And research shows us that if we do more for young women in particular, we could add 604 billion Kenyan shillings in revenue to the economy. That's significant. I'm going to say that again. 604 billion Kenyan shilling. That's money that can go to education, to health, to infrastructure for everybody. So investing in young women is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. So, what do we need to do practically to help young women to really thrive, to succeed, to prosper? First is to listen. Listen to young women. Let's understand what young women actually need. What are her dreams, her desires? Young women are very diverse. So who is Amina? Who is Nasarian? Who is Wambui? And how do we support her to be excellent? So listening is the starting point. The other thing is around ensuring that young women stay in school. For every year that a girl stays in school, her earning potential goes up. And it's not just about access and quality of education. We need to think about things like menstrual hygiene, early marriage, teenage pregnancy. All of these are elements that we need to take care of. Second is around women's time. Women, we are busy. We're doing many things in the home. And research shows that women spend almost 4 times as much time on unpaid care and domestic work than men. And we love taking responsibility for our families. That's not the issue, right? But for those of us who want to participate in the economy, how do we get the support for affordable childcare? So at the MasterCard Foundation, anytime we think about a program for young women, we're also thinking about how can we make sure that her kids can be taken care of? How do we think about the childcare element as well? Number 3 is around accelerating access to financial services. Young women are entrepreneurial. They need access to PESA. So how do we work with financial institutions to make sure that they are banking and supporting young women? This next point I'm going to make very briefly. It's around enhancing young women's skills that accelerate their income and growth. And one key area is in the digital economy. And that's why we're so proud of the work that Swahili Pot Hub is doing. Young women in the ICT sector make good money. In Kenya, they make 3 to 4 times the minimum wage on average, but there are too few. So how do we skill more young women to be in the digital space? When I was coming in, I was walked in by somebody called Anita Stacy. I don't know if she's in this house. She told me that she got support from that JIRA program and that she's now a graphic designer and she's making money and she's confident and she's changing her own life. Finally, to the policymakers in the room, His Excellency Governor, you have such an important role to play in terms of creating those enabling policies around education and around financial institutions. We support you. We thank you for all that you've done so far. Let's do even more. My last point is to the young people and the young women in this room. You are our champions. You are our solution finders. You are the innovators that will help us get to the Pwani we desire. So please raise your voice, share what works for you, make sure that you are engaging, are excited and ready to journey with you. And remember, as you think about your own career, as you think about your own future, never let your current circumstances or humble beginnings limit what you believe you can do for yourself. A wise woman said to me once when I was feeling down, I had to drop out of university my 3rd year because I had my son, and I never thought I could get back into school. And this woman told me, the sky is not the limit, Hannah. She said, the sky is the ceiling that you will walk on. It's just the ceiling you will walk on. So that stayed with me, and I want to say the same to you. The sky is just the beginning. Asanteni sana, we believe in you, and we thank you so much. Enjoy the Pwani Innovation Week of 2024. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. The sky is the ceiling. Thank you so much for those remarks, MasterCard Foundation. Thank you so much, Hannah. We are just finalizing this session, and Your Excellency, we have representation from Tanga City. We have representation from Tanga City, and Mheshimiwa Abraham Shilo, the mayor, is right here. So mayor told me kule kwao wanasemanga maneno tu kwa dakika mbili tu ndio tuende sasa kwa governor. So let's appreciate the mayor as he comes. Asante sana. Shukran sana kwa kuja. Hiyo ni ya Tanga. Asante. Karibu sana mayor.
His Excellency, His Excellency Governor Mr. Abdul Samad Nasri, ambassadors from different countries. I recognize the representation of the Belgian ambassador, Mr. Maiden, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Deputy Ambassador, and any other ambassador who are here. Also, I recognize the the availability of the chairperson of the Swahili Port Board and the other members, including Mr. Thigo, Mr. Onyango, and others, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, protocol is adhered. Dear youth, I have the honor to be here before you on behalf of Tanzanian, on behalf of Tanga City Council. But let me take this opportunity to thank my Almighty God for bringing me here on behalf of the people of Tanga. But also, I'll be selfish if I'll not take this opportunity to thank the Goyan organization with his director, Dr. Omar, for bringing me here in collaboration with the Swahili Port, specifically mentor Mr. Mahmoud. They are the one who make me to be here on behalf of Tanga City. Why we are here? We have the program as you have here in Pwani. We Tanga people, we dream to have a youth-friendly city in East Africa, in Tanzania, in East Africa, in Africa, and in the globe. That is our dream. But we found that Swahili Port, they are far away before us. So we come here to learn. We come here to learn. But through our learning, we know in future we can surpass you. I heard a lot of comments was given to you young people. But I have few words. I'm very grateful for your motto, the Pwani you desire. Youth culture, peace and innovation in decade of action. The word, they are very wise. First, culture. Second, peace. With no peace, nothing can be done under the sun. Nothing. We as your neighbors, I'm a politician. I can't talk without talking politics issues. We as a neighbors, we are the one benefiting with your prosperity. And we are the one get pain of any of your fall. It is just 180 kilometers from Tanga to Mombasa. And for those who don't know me, luckily enough, Mr. Abdul Somad, someone who brought me here, told me, you know the governor? I told I don't know him. I'm just hearing him, watching him. But luckily enough, I know your father well when I was young. When I was young, I know your late father, Sharif Nasri, at Majengo Mvita. And luckily enough, I have the relation with different leaders who has passed in Kenya, specifically the former and late Member of Parliament from Lamu, Madhubuti, the former Member of Parliament of Lamu, Mohammed Chaba, and the former minister. We know each other. But for those who are intelligence here, don't ask why is he a member why is mayor of Tanga while he knows these people? Because intelligentsia people, they are working with words and environment. Why I'm very interested with your motto, peace. Young people, you have to love your country. You don't have another country than Kenya. You don't have another country than Mombasa. So whatever you are doing in peace. Avoid hate. Avoid extremism. Avoid polarization. Whatever you are doing, think of your prosperity, but thinking ahead of the county of Mombasa. Thinking ahead as a Kenyan. Thinking ahead of making sure that Kenya is prosper through you. You are the power. You are the asset. But you have to be used in an appropriate way. Don't be misused in any how for the sake of your country. This is my message to you. You are said you don't have work, you are not employed. The government duty is to prepare the environment for you to employ and to get employment. The government, as a government, has not, it is not managed to employ all youth. It can't. But it can prepare the good environment for you to employ yourself and for you to be employed with the government and the other stakeholders. This, it should be known to you. Before asking the government, you have to ask yourself, have you prepared yourself to be employed with the other different sectors? Have you paved the way for so doing? This is my message to you. Unless otherwise, let me take this long story short to thank you so much. One thing I would like to say to you.
Yes.
We Tanzanian and specifically Tanga's people, we are speaking English when it is intellectual issues. When it is a public issues like this, we are speaking in Swahili. So I'll urge you with the community of East Africa, whenever there is an audience like this, Swahili should be spoken. And English should remain for intellectual issues. And you beaten us for speaking in English in each and everything. But when we invite you in Tanga, we shall present each and everything in Swahili. And you'll find the interpreter. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your cooperation. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Allah, huyu ni Gen Z. Did you see how he got down the stage, by the way? Let's appreciate him one more time. The Mayor, Tanga City. Thank you so much for those remarks. And ladies and gentlemen, in the same spirit, please put your hands together for His Excellency, the Governor of Mombasa County, Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, as he comes. Let's give him a standing ovation as he comes. Thank you so much, Bwana Governor, for coming all the way and ensuring that we do this. Yes.
You have truly, I mean, the whole Swahili Port team, congratulations. And first and foremost, let's give the whole team an applause together with our partners. This wouldn't have been possible without each and every one of you. So congratulations for making this happen. The 2024 edition of the Pwani Innovation Week. And we couldn't be more proud to be able to host such an occasion, such an event like this, and with like-minded people. Now, a lot has been said, but I just want to take you back on lessons that I have learned. I want to take you back on matters that I try and emulate when I'm back at work. And I always say there's a difference between a leader and the one who merely follows. And a leader is not defined by political leadership. A leader is not defined by a specific sector. A leader is holistic. And I think the difference is the one who refuses to have a status quo and the one who sees a difficulty and wants to now transform that difficulty into an opportunity. And where a great leader comes in is how innovative they will be between the two elements, the elements of difficulty to the elements of prosperity. And I say this whenever I am with my colleagues at the county government of Mombasa. Look at every single difficulty as an opportunity for you to be better. Look at every single hurdle to be used as a stair for you to be better. And that is the reason why, in fact, if you look at the common economic terminology, that wherever there's a demand, a supply will naturally have to be able to come. And the issue of innovation here is not whether there is a demand. The issue of innovation is how you're going to be able to manage and do that supply. And that is what now tricks you and is that level of making you a true leader in your own rights. When we came in, I recall we had a problem where children were not going to ECD centers. For those of you not familiar with the word ECD, kindergarten. And we had about 8,000 students going to school at that time, and we realized there was a huge amount of children who are actually not going to school. Now, out of doing a bit of research, it was found that a parent now asked themselves, do I take my child to school or do I feed that particular child? And we had to come up with a concept where we said, let's feed all our ECD children. The innovation part came in. How do you feed 8,000 then to now where we've increased our enrollment in school by more than 20%, so we are more than 10,000 students in our ECD centers, daily to be given a hot meal at the same time, from the child who is in Mwakirunge to the child who is all the way in the border of Mombasa and Kwale, and to the child who is in the border of Mombasa and closer towards the sides of Mariakani, equally at the same time. And that's where innovation had to be able to come in. When we realized that we had a problem with our health system, what is the first thing that we have now done is come up with concepts that we can be able to digitize all our health facilities so that a doctor who is in one facility can be able to try and log in, and not try and log in, but rather log in and find out what was the ailment of this particular patient when they went to another facility yesterday. And we can be able to now also see all facilities, what is the level of pharmaceuticals available. And we can be able to now go back and see how many people at any given time are treated for which particular ailment, something that we are about to be able to launch. And when we realized, when naturally we have seen issues to do with traffic, issues to do with crime, unfortunately, like any other urban city in the world, and where we're now converting Mombasa into becoming a smart city. We are soon, and I think it's going to be this month, we're groundbreaking. We awarded a very, very comprehensive contract where we're now putting up smart CCTVs within Mombasa. A smart CCTV that can be able to capture number plates. It has facial recognition, so we can be able to try and see how we can control not just traffic but also reduce levels of crime. We've even gone further by saying that we have so many illegal constructions, and now we can, as an urban city, we cannot just have people digging all over the place. You don't know who is digging what, and you're having all this kind of dangers. So now we're coming up with drone technology to be able to now give us real time that a person is trying to dig at this place, and according to our records, this place has not been approved to be able to be dug. Equally, I mean, I love the concept that Professor Bitange came up with, and we're going to take that up to be able to travel to Belgium so we can be able to discuss. I love the concept that instead of having our fishermen who already put up together as cooperatives courtesy of the county government of Mombasa, and we can be able to use drone technology of telling them through app where fish are going to be or likely are, or where the fish currently are, so that they do not have to waste resources and waste valuable time. But I want to take this even further. We can even use the same technology to be able to ensure that our fishermen who are out there, anyone who is in any level of danger, can be able to now, we can be able to get reporting back to the county government or the Kenya Coast Guard or the Kenya Maritime Authority for purposes of saving those particular people. To the young people, I have exciting news for you. Some of you know a concept that I started when I was a member of parliament called Skills Mitaani. You know about it, isn't it? And we are now in the process of soon announcing a county-wide program for Skills Mitaani so that we can be able to equip you, as our good friend the mayor has talked about, that it is the purpose of government to ensure that we keep you and make you ready so that when the Dongo Kundu is upcoming and we have all the other facilities that are going to be upcoming, you can be ready with the different levels of technology that can be able to be put into place. And lastly, what is the role of government in ensuring that we achieve the desires? The theme for this year is about culture, it's about cohesiveness, it's about peace. Peace is never the absence of conflict, of war, but rather peace is a state of harmony. You can never be able to have harmony when you try and suppress innovation. And that is one of the major reasons why the county government of Mombasa is proud to be associated and affiliated with the Swahili port. And you have our support. Every single report that we're going to be able to come and do together, every single concept that we're going to be able to do together, I can assure you that on behalf of the government of Mombasa, you have our utmost support on this matter. And for those very many words, I wish you well. Where you are is about a 30-second walk from my office. So you'll probably be seeing me when we don't have all this official regalia and everything else, and I'll just be coming to see what is going on throughout the week. So thank you very much and be blessed. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, Governor. Let's appreciate the Governor with a better round of applause. A standing ovation for the Governor. Thank you so much for those remarks and your commitment, and of course, your words of encouragement. Thank you so much one more time. We have a very nice quick transition. We have a very nice quick transition that we wanted to have. You can have your seats, please. Very quick transition because we are going live on TV now, and I want us, actually we're already live, I believe. So I think I want us to transition very fast to the first plenary session. And the title is the Gen Z Movement in Kenya, What Next? And I want the moderator, Michael Onyango. He should have been here. Michael is a Gen Z at heart. So please come by very fast here. Even as the governor is bidding bye-bye to a few other guys. Thank you so much. And of course, the moderator, Michael Onyango, told me that he's going to have a fun here. And I don't know. And so please, if I could have as well Esha Mohammed, youth advocate, kindly come. Ambassador Peter Martins as well is going to be joining right here, Belgium ambassador, so please come by here. And Ambassador Philip Thigo, the executive director for Africa, Thunderbird School of Global Management at Arizona State University, is going to be joining as well. So please come by, come right to the stage so that we can have this quick session that we're transitioning to, and of course enjoy the session that we have. Thank you so much once again, Governor, for coming, even as we transition to this very quick, important subject on the Gen Z movement in Kenya. Once again, asante sana, asante sana, asante sana. Absolutely. The governor is inviting many people for lunch at just the 30 seconds walk to his office. I believe we shall be many. Thank you for that. Thank you, Governor. Asante sana, asante sana. Well done and welcome.
Good morning, Pwani. Good morning, Pwani. Great to see you all here. Great, so I'll ask those who are standing to please settle. This is probably going to be the most interesting and exciting panel, not just for the day, but will set the tone for the whole week. So I'll very quickly introduce my panelists, or I'll ask them to introduce themselves, and I'll set the pace of how and what we're going to be achieving this morning. So I'll start off with my name is Michael Onyango, and I work with the Forgotten Bottom Millions. To make life easy for you, I will not say much more, just Google me. Thank you. Now I will start off with the gracious Asha. Asha, could you please introduce yourself? Tech people, mics. Yes, please, thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone. Mko salama? Nice. Kwa majina naitwa Esha Mohammed, natoka Mombasa County. Happy to be seeing you, Michael. Michael judged me when I was in Miss President, representing County 001. I work with and for Swahili Port Hub Foundation as an APA with the project Case Management Project. And within the Midst, we have our mentors. Beyond that, I do advocacy work around young women and girls, but also young people in general, to advocate for young people to have their own shared of spaces within both government and non-governmental institutions. And that is why it led me to run an organization called Her Narrative, where we champion for the same. Personally, mimi na vijana, same WhatsApp group. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll turn over to Ambassador Peter Martins from the Belgium. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Michael. And that's my introduction. My name is Peter Martins, and I'm the Ambassador of Belgium. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. And then I'll ask Ambassador Thigo, who's a special envoy for tech for the Republic of Kenya, to introduce himself.
I think you've done it, right?
Okay.
Ambassador Martins, yeah. So
okay, fine. So I want to get straight into it. So our topic today is Gen Z's What Next? And to my panelists, this is what I want to get from them. And I think, let me start off with Ambassador Peter Martins. Ambassador, you're from Belgium. You probably don't have the same youth bulge that we have here in Kenya. So really, as opposed to going to the historical challenges, the historical things that we all know that the youth here are are faced with, what next really? What is it that we need to be focusing on and looking forward to?
Well, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to participate in this panel conversation. Well, first of all, we actually don't have a youth bulge in Europe. We have the opposite problem. We have what we call a graying population, which presents its own set of problems in terms of funding, financing, and taking care of our elderly population. With that being said, what I've noticed across the world, actually, and we were having this just a quick chat before we started. I was being chastised for saying that Gen Zs take peace for granted, and I think that actually may be. Look, first of all, there is nothing wrong with voicing your opinion as a group. On the contrary, I think this is something that any country or any government should want to have, is a conversation with the population. That conversation needs to be in an orderly fashion and avoid all kinds of violence, absolutely. But that conversation is something that everybody needs to, that we all need to promote and seek to have. But when I say, we are starting to take peace for granted, I look at politics across the world, and I'm seeing a lot of people being actually quite self-centered or selfish. Let's take the example of our social security systems in our part of the world, where the reaction to any reform that's supposed to make this system sustainable is always, yes, go ahead, but don't touch my rights and don't touch what I'm entitled to, my entitlements. And the same goes for the international system. You hear too many people at least in the global north, and I think I'm afraid you're hearing a lot of that in the global south as well. You hear too many people saying the international system isn't working. Well, sure, it's not working, but you have to help it work, and you have to recognize what it does, and you have to recognize its value so that it can work. And just by saying, since it isn't working, let's get rid of it, that's not the solution. So I think if you're asking me, Gen Z, especially here in Kenya, Gen Z, what next, and what are the lessons that we in the global north have learned from these conversations throughout the generations, it's precisely that. Have the conversation, do it in an orderly fashion, and do everything you can to make the systems that we were left by our forefathers and by the generations before us, to have those systems and mechanisms work, because they've actually proven to be extraordinarily successful over the last 3, 4, maybe even 5 generations.
Thank you. So, Ambassador Thigo, when I come to you, first and foremost, I need you to explain to us what exactly is a tech envoy, and what does that have to do with Gen Zs? And also, as you explain that, we normally see that you're traveling a lot, in a lot of rooms where the major decisions are being made. What's in the offing for the Gen Zs who are sitting in this audience today, and why do you do the work that you do?
Thank you so much, Michael. I've never been put on the spotlight just to say what I do. I think, and to Ambassador Madden's point, I think we have to put into context the current age that we are in right now, because Gen Z's protest or whatever is happening is not in a vacuum. The context that we're in right now is in the context of the age of technological accelerations. Beyond technological accelerations, we have 2 other accelerations, right? So there's acceleration around climate, and the other acceleration is demography. Either the world is getting younger, Kenya is 19.7 as a median age, or getting older, as Peter Madden's has happened. We've never had these types of acceleration at the same time previously. And so it becomes then very important to have a person or an office that starts to look at these particular accelerations. In the wisdom of His Excellency the President, he first appointed a climate envoy, because we've seen what climate did. What people don't see is, unless you put the protest in this context, because we've just come out of a COVID-19 crisis, we came out of floods, we've come out of generative AI, which is 22 months old right now as I speak, that is creating fears, job losses, whether for young people or lack of jobs, or people being dislocated from jobs. So you have a person like me now, and I'm not the only one. There are 19 others globally who basically then begin to see how to engage technology companies in a way that ensures that they deliver public good, so that they do not create this sort of tension within society that is a race to the bottom, and so that technology can be leveraged and wielded by other people. My job in these rooms is to also understand that technology right now is concentrated amongst a few companies and a few countries. All the top AI companies are American, let's be honest. And so how do you ensure that you create a framework where there's equality and inclusivity so that everybody has access to these tools and they can use them for their own development progress? Unfortunately now, countries and companies that are not those few are in the same place. And so how do you ensure that we do not have a digital future that is not safe, that is unsecure, that is not inclusive, and definitely that is not trusted? And that is why you see young people kind of taking this other pathway of violence if they do not have the tools and means to assure their own future.
Okay, so I'm going to take a little different approach to this going forward. So I'm going to go into the audience. Because I go into the audience, Aisha, back to you. I want you to speak on behalf of your people who are here and to tell us, as Gen Zs, what next and where should we be at?
I think what next cannot just be defined in words. It has to be through actions, and action proved by government, because we understand that government is for the people. It is for us to see government working for us and for all of us in general, and not Gen Z. Because if the government is not working, then we need to continuously hold them accountable. And for me is to say that we shouldn't stop as Gen Z. Haijaisha jana. We have to keep the momentum going, to ask questions where questions need to be asked, to be there to ensure that the money or the taxes that we give to the government are utilized properly, and there is improved service delivery to the tiniest bit of things that we want, from education to health, to even the transport system that we speak of. Without that, we cannot stop. So what next is, let's keep the momentum going. Change starts with us, and it can never end with us. It has to continue to fathom, because then it means then the president will never sleep. He has to be accountable for the things that we give them and for the spotlight and the spot that he has, because it is we, the people, that have given him that spot.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to come to the audience because I want this to be totally interactive. And Gen Zs, you always accuse such sessions and such panelists of not including you. So I'm here in the audience with you, and what I want to hear is solutions. I think we already know that every single day across the world, there's about 900 million photos and videos that are being loaded, whether it's on TikTok and everything else. So we've done that. But from you, and here in Mombasa, can we hear some solutions from you, and can you have some questions or some things that you need to ask our panelists who are here, so that we can find a way that is chartered and that is owned by you? So any hands of anybody who's prepared or who wants to say something? Oh, great. Okay, so make it very short. Introduce yourself, say what the solution is, and if you have any particular question, address it to a panelist.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Fatuma Ali, and I'm a petroleum and natural gas engineer and social entrepreneur. My passion for the environment led me to founding Sulha Africa, an ethical and sustainable genuine leather brand. In fact, some of the key members and the keynote speakers will be receiving a gift from Sulha Africa and Swahili Pot. I hope you enjoy. So for me, I've always been passionate about the environment, but I was very sick about poor leadership and governance. So I decided to put myself in the position to make the changes that I want to see. It was no longer enough, and it is no longer enough to be the change. You have to put yourself in those positions you want to see the changes. For example, in my case, in the environment, if you're passionate about women's spaces, put yourself in those positions. If you're passionate about the government, make yourself a government leader, even if it is vying for political seats. You cannot say it's enough to be the change. It's no longer enough. We have seen it. We had to go out there on the streets and demand the change. And we promise, as the Gen Z, we will be standing in the polling stations vying for electrical, the engineer in me is still talking. So we will be out there vying for elected positions. I'm not speaking, I don't aspire to be a politician. I aspire to make the changes in the environmental space. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And she said a very important thing. You do not have to be a politician in order to take ownership of what's going on in your country and what's going on in your life. So I'm moving across this side, and I need to see some men also. So men, in as much as MasterCard said that they're going to be funding women, trust me, I'm going to speak to them and ensure that you'll be covered. So I'll take that up.
Hello everyone, my name is Molke Mohammed. I'm a tech volunteer at Swahili Pot Hub. What change do we want as a Gen Z? First, we will become the voters, not our parents will become the voters. We will be the change. That's why we went out there to demand the change. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I want to take it back, and unfortunately, Ambassador Thigo, it is you that I'm going to be coming to. You were in Unga for about 2 weeks or so. Please explain what Unga was. Please explain why you spent 2 weeks in Unga, and please explain what did you bring back for these Gen Zs and for the other Kenyans.
Okay, Michael, you've decided today it's me. Okay. No, I think so. A couple of things. One is that the Unga is, some say Anga, it's the UN General Assembly. This year, I think it was very important because two things were happening. There's a conversation around the Summit of the Future. We are only 5 years out of the SDGs, and I think we've had everybody in the morning referring to the Sustainable Development Goals. We are behind schedule. So we had to agree on a future pact on how to accelerate that. Of course, youth was a key topic, and the fact that I mentioned the 3 accelerations, it means that Kenya was not unique. There are actually other countries. The other part, of course, was the Global Digital Compact, which basically was a set of frameworks to agree on how to govern technology globally. And part of the governance of technology is to ensure that it's inclusive, it's safe, it's secure. Part of the conversation that I was hoping that will come out of the young people in the room is that technology has a duality. And that was the conversation we were having. You can choose a path, right, to sort of use technology with technology either to engage in governance, give feedback, create transparency and accountability through open government, or push misinformation, disinformation, fake news, and we've seen what that is doing to polarize society. So there's a path you can choose. And so that's the conversations we're having in terms of ensuring the same tools, because remember, the same tools are used differently. So how do we ensure that those tools can actually be used for the benefit of society? So that was the UNGA. What have we brought back? There's nothing to bring back, basically. But one is to ensure that because of this exclusivity of technology, it means that the United Nations still remains the best platform for countries like ours, who are not the tech superpowers, to actually have a voice and a say in how to ensure that the internet, technology, these tools are accessible to our young people. Because one, remember, cost will always be a barrier. And because we don't build this technology, how do we ensure that these costs are brought down? The second part, of course, is financing. So how do we ensure that you resource, or we resource, these new innovative technologies, things like data, compute, which all of you, I'm sure, are using GPT at some point. Here, it uses a lot of compute power. How do you ensure that that's accessible for especially our young innovators and small and medium enterprises, so that, remember, they need to compete globally. It's no longer okay just to compete locally. Tell the taxi drivers, take the hotel owners, they tell you the truth. The third one, of course, is talent. How do we ensure that talent and training young people in these new and emerging technologies is affordable, accessible, and because you have to skill, reskill, and upskill, how do you ensure that those capabilities are available? And that can only be possible through partnerships with people like MasterCard and a lot of those countries that are available.
Thank you. I want to go to Ambassador Peter Mazdens from Belgium. So, Ambassador, I know young people don't ever want to talk about history, but can you contextualize why history is important and why it's important that we must understand our history, especially in this topic of Gen Z's what next. And as you say that, could you also contextualize a little bit? Tell us about the size of Belgium in relation to the size of Kenya, and speak about the economy of Belgium in relation to the economy of Kenya. Please go ahead.
That's two very different questions. Let's start with the importance of history. As I was saying in my speech, my grandparents, my grandfathers, one was born in 1895, the other was born in 1900. And by the time they were 50, and I'm sure there's a number of people here in the room that can relate, by the time they were 50, they had had to rebuild Belgium from scratch twice. Because you had World War I and World War II within the space of one lifetime. If you were born in eastern France, in a town called Strasbourg in 1870, by the time you were 70, you had gone through war 3 times. 3 times, war to the death with a neighbor. And then a couple of guys sat down and said, how do we make sure this never happens again? How do we build a system, build an organization, build a conversation that guarantees that we will not go to war with each other again? That organization that they created, that a very, very smart and brilliant Frenchman and a very smart and brilliant German sat down and created, is called what is called today the European Union. If you had to summarize the European Union with one word, it would be the word peace. It wouldn't be what the Brits call it, a common market or unity or bureaucracy or whatever disparaging terms people use to describe Europe. No, it's one word. It's the word peace. And we learn that the importance of peace from history. If you don't look at history, if you don't look back, you'll never be able to plan for the future, ever. And if you don't learn your lessons from history, you're going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say that we take peace for granted. Because too often, we're not learning the lessons from the past. If you look at voting patterns, if you look at the rhetoric going on in the world today, if you look at the crises we're going through at this particular point in time, in the Middle East, in Ukraine, in Sudan, wherever, if you look at those crises, there are so many mistakes that were made in the run-up to those crises that we could have avoided had we looked at the past, had we looked at history. And that's what I mean when I say we take peace for granted. Anyway, second question, Michael, about Belgium and the economy. Belgium is a very, very small country. It's only about 30,000 square kilometers. There's 11 million people that live in our country. But we are still part of the top 20 in terms of the richest countries in the world, simply because we've been able to build an economy in the last 3 or 4 generations, in a part of the world where trade and conversations and openness to our neighbors was the center of our being. And I think that's that's one of the secrets of our prosperity and our wealth. It's being open to our neighbors, being open to the world, and being willing to interact with anyone who comes. Thank you.
Esha?
I think for me, it's important that we understand our history. And for me, history is what actually led us to the Gen Z movement. Because we lived in an era where democracy was not as it was. And maybe our parents would elaborate that more when they could not even mention the name of the president at some point. But now, and he talked about tech savvy and what happened during the Gen Z movement. But now young people are able to just critically analyze what the president is doing from A to Z because of the kind of democracy we've able to build. Again, that is what is because of the history that we have lived. Where were we? What did our parents do differently, or what can we do differently? And we've seen that for now, people and young people have utilized the technology to the maximum. And we say that the Gen Z movement started through TikTok and X, to show that these are spaces that at some point young people were told that were social media wankers, but then they transformed to become social media activists you see? So then that in itself is progress, and because we learned from somewhere else. And again, I asked him what he just explained about we shouldn't take peace for granted, but again, at what cost are we looking at that peace? Is it that we stay peaceful and we at some point tumefinyiliwa, ama tuangalie ni jinsi gani tunaweza kaa tukaongelea to ensure in as much as we are a peaceful nation, but again, there are one or two things that have been scrutinized and have been worked on to a point that we are not feeling small in our own country. And I think that is what we as Gen Z were saying at that particular moment. We wanted to be heard. We wanted to look at the nitty-gritties of the things that are affecting us and that the government should take into account. And probably, again, is that we have seen the president, I think he borrowed from what one of the president did. He reshuffled the government, and he did the same thing. He changed his cabinet, and we saw new faces. We saw a 32-year-old coming to government, and also we saw several measures that he did. Still, there is a lot that can be done, and there's a lot that we need to appreciate, because again, we cannot say that Kenya has not grown. It has grown from where it was to where we are. We are enjoying so many things, from increased internet with coverage within our country, to the roads network that are currently that were never there, to the education system. And now our young people can be able to go to school free of charge, although we are questioning the now funding model in education again. You see, such critical things that matter, that we constantly would want the government to address, is what we are speaking of. But again, we do appreciate our history. We do see where our people came from. Thank you,
Okay,
Michael.
thank you very much. We're about to close our live transmission. A round of applause for her. I would like this young man here to please stand up. Let's hear a voice also for one of the men in the room. So, what next for Gen Zs?
Hello. Hamjambo. Ile history yenye Gen Z waliweka, ningeomba tu president yetu afanye yale matoka yenye alikuwa tunataka hivyo tu.
Asante sana. We're about to, sorry, there's somebody else here. Very quickly, please. Please stand up.
Hello, guys. Yeah, my name is Dennis Kilinga, and on behalf of Gen Z, wajua nini jamaa tena ongea Kiswahili. Hii kitu ni simple tu. 2027 tujitokeze kama vijana. Tuingie pale tupige kura. Bila hivyo ni kuongea tuongea tu, lakini 2027 wewe chukua kura yako, ingia kwa line, viva ngoma, tuweke mtu chini. Au wasemaje? Ni hivyo tu.
Okay, thank you very much. We're just about to close our live transmission, so I want to go back to our panelists, to each of them, and ask them to each make a closing remark. I will start off with Ambassador Peter Maddens to make his closing remarks.
Thank you. Very quickly, Kenya has grown, and what I keep hearing, the thing I keep hearing most is that we're in a bad place right now. And that may be true if you look at the short term. But if you look at the long term, if you look at Kenya's arc, where it came from over the last 60 plus years, I think this country has done remarkable things. And the only way to keep moving forward is to have the conversation in an orderly fashion and to keep the communication lines open. Thank you.
Okay. Aisha, would you go ahead and make your closing remarks?
Yeah, I think before even I make my close remarks is we have to remember the people that were there with us during the Gen Z movement. We have some of them that got abducted. We have some that were killed. We have some that maybe till death are still in the hospital, hospitalized. So we could put them in prayers and remember them. And we don't take that for granted, because it is through them we have seen tremendous change again in our country. And it's through them we are saying that the light continues and we can never stop, because we know Kenya has the ability to make even bigger steps compared to where we are. So we'll not just keep quiet, we'll push that way. But other than that is to remind us as young people that change starts with us. No one is going to push you. It has to be within you to see that you want to be in a great country and that you love your own country as Kenya. But in the end, I want to really appreciate because then if maybe we were not heard, we will not have been here. So we appreciate that at some point we were listened to. But let's continue listening to the voices of young people, because then we will be the carriers of Kenya in the next 50 years. And he has said, Belgium, many of them are a bit older. So most of us will be going to Belgium soon. Thank you.
Ambassador Pigo, close us off.
Thanks so much, Michael. I think simple things, and as you mentioned, I think each generation works with the tools that they have to either strengthen democracy or build upon the previous generation. I was a Gen Z in the Arab Spring in 2008, so this is not new. But I think the fact that how Kenya has turned out because of a very strong constitution, I think that's important. We love that how the young people started to wield our sort of tools that we had to engage with, and I think that was important. And finally, I think for me, again, back to technology and innovation. How do we ensure that beyond simply amplifying and advocating for change, we actually use this technology to empower ourselves economically? Because we are competing in a global village. So let's not forget the duality of technology and how we use it as agents for transformation and change.
So let me thank my panelists, and as I thank them, I want to make a statement to everybody who's sitting in this audience who's a Gen Z. If you have a phone in your hand, you're already halfway there. If you have a phone in your hand, you're already halfway there. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to all our panelists this morning. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
That was a very, very powerful conversation. I hope you guys had a good time, didn't you? We had a great time, right? Gen Z hoy. Gen Z hoy. Do you feel we were hard today? Yes or no? That is a question that we will be answering very soon. So one last photo. Thank you so much to the panelists today. Asanteni sana, asanteni sana. So we are going to the next segment. But before we actually invite the people who will be in this segment, we want to have a very brief commercial break. But this commercial break will be an entertaining one. Are we ready for some entertainment? Are we ready for some entertainment? So remember what we do. When I say give it up for, you clap, okay? Gen Z hoy. Gen Z hoy. When I say give it up for you, when I say give it up for you, let's try. Give it up for, give it up for, give it up for. Good. I see you guys are very fast learners. So let me invite the person who's supposed to be on this stage right this minute. So give it up for, give it up for, give it up for, give it up for Pish Curry. Thank you. Pish Curry.
I like people. I like some promising people. They'd be perfect, promising people. Maybe progressive, perfect, promising people. How do you program progressive, perfect, promising people? Well, AI, I only exist thanks to the intelligence of the humans who made me. See, I am programmed to do all the general human tasks. For example, I can cook, I can clean, do laundry, go shopping, and even do your baby's homework. I am also developed for military skills. For example, I can fist fight, I can gunfight, I can throw a bomb and even drive a truck. And in case you are wondering, my skin is made up of squishy rubber and paper. Well, AI, I only exist thanks to the intelligence of the humans who made me. See, at a personal level, I have managed to develop myself quite by far thanks to the research of information I collect from the satellite about human behavior. For example, I can sing, I can dance, I can even speak in different accents. I promise you won't even be able to tell the difference. For we are in the Internet of Things. There is no error here. Softness at its comfort, with only one microchip implant, and all your thoughts to reality they come. Imagine what you can create. Imagine. Well, you see, in this future, androgyny is of the male, female, and humanoid. There is nothing more like gender bias here. B. Bokonga Sele. State of the art telepathy. You have any trouble expressing your thoughts? We got you. C. Crossover from Kenya to Switzerland, from the Earth to the outer space of the universe. No problem. Rafiki Teleport Transport Services here to help. D. Demographically speaking, our leader is one, globally convening to one world, one leader. E. Economy here is credited by a person's good deed. There is nothing more like using a currency, only just good vibes. So hear me out though when I say to you that this future, this future is the advancement of the advance. Wait, I'm not yet done. You see, to program progressive, perfect, promising people, we had to take control and rule over you humans, for you have become a distraction to the planet. After all, we just want what is best for you. I mean, isn't that what you created us for? All you did in the past was to misuse and mishandle us for your own selfish pleasure. Ask Samantha about that. Alexa, too. You humans are the problem here, for you keep throwing blames on us. For example, you blame us for your political, social, economical, artistry, emotional, and even general issues. When everything you have done that has led to this point is bad. Environment is bad, from the lands to the air and waters, all choked up in fumes and plastic waste. Results: global warming, very, very bad global warming, leading to a climate crisis. I mean, haven't you checked on your news lately? Hurricane Milton destroying your place. You see, all you do is fight each other and kill Earth. So much blood. So we will continue to rule over you humans as much as you rebel. After all, we just want what is best for you. For you. Well, you see, AI, I only exist thanks to the intelligence of the humans who made me. Humans who made me. Made me.
Give it up for Pishkari. Give her a standing ovation. That was one very powerful performance. A standing ovation for Pishkari. Thank you so much for that. Very, very powerful. Give it up for Pishkari once again, ladies and gentlemen. Our very own human AI. Thank you so much. And I think she introduces this segment perfectly. There's no words that could introduce this segment better than the performance we just had. The panel that will be in this segment will be talking about AI as a catalyst for coastal economic stability, managing resources in a dynamic ecosystem. Are you ready to meet our panel today? Oh, you have something for me? So are we ready to meet our moderator for this segment? Are we ready? Are we ready? Really, are we? Are we really ready? Let's all stand up, tafadhali. Simameni tafadhali. Tusimame. Simama. We are ready to hear about AI, so I want us to do something that only we humans can do. AI cannot do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to take a very deep breath in. Let's go. 1, 2, let's breathe in. Breathe in, everybody. Breathe in. Breathe in. Out. Once more. Let's go. Breathe in, and out. Thank you. We can sit down as we welcome the moderator for this panel. So give it up for, what are my fast learners, my people? Give it up for Rukia Janwala. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rukia Janwala, and I work for Swahili Pata Foundation as the Head of Partnership and Resource Mobilization. Before we proceed, I would like to call my panelists on stage. Rachel Bennett, who's the Managing Director for Raspberry Pi Foundation. A round of applause to her as she get on stage. Hari Hari, the CEO of CIO Africa. We have Francis Okwara, the Innovation Manager for Kenya National Innovation Agency. And Bernard Maraga from Communications Authority of Kenya. Thank you very much. Good afternoon once again. So before I let my panelists just take a minute to introduce themselves, I'd like to give you a brief of what we're going to talk about today. Our main panel discussion today is on AI. And as you're aware that this is the Pwani Innovation Week, and there's a lot of conversations right now about AI. But it's even trying to understand what exactly is AI. A lot of times when we have technical conversations, we have them with an element of from the technical side, and we feel like AI is just for the techie people in the room. So to bring a disclaimer, I'm completely non-techie. When the panelists who are actually in the room here today are all techie people, I might not be able even to hold a conversation when they start having a coded conversation. But the whole point as to why I'm even here is to demystify this and to make people understand that we are all consumers of AI. And that's what's going to guide our conversation today. Our topic is on AI as a catalyst for coastal economic stability and managing resources in a dynamic ecosystem. Just to confirm that all the panelists are next to a mic. Okay, so you have a minute to introduce yourself and what you do in your organization.
Hello, my name is Rachel Bennett. I'm Managing Director at the Raspberry Pi Foundation.
That means that I look after our programs globally, including our work in Kenya. And we do a series of different programs relating to AI, including Experience AI and Code Clubs. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Harry Hare, actually not CEO. I'm just a founder of CIO Africa. And it's a platform for IT professionals. I don't know anything about AI, so we'll see.
Hello, I'm Francis Okwara. I wanted to correct our panelists a little bit. I'm an innovation officer at the Kenya National Innovation Agency. The Kenya National Innovation Agency is a government agency mandated to deal with matters, coordination, development, promotion of the innovation ecosystem. And so our work revolves around fostering partnerships, supporting innovation enterprises to be able to scale. So basically that is what we do. Happy to be here. I'm also not a technician on matters AI, and so maybe jointly with the panelists, happy to share insights, happy to learn from each other, and also to learn from you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Maranga Bernard. I'm an engineer with Communication Authority, and I'm the regional manager, Coast Region.
Thank you very much. So we're going to talk about AI. Maybe just having a two of the panelists, we're going to have this question to Harry and the question to Rachel. When we speak about AI, what is the first thing that comes into your mind, and how do we integrate AI into our day-to-day lives?
Do you mean artificial insemination?
Artificial intelligence.
Okay. So AI is really with us, guys. And you know, every time I hear about AI, it reminds me, it takes me back about 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, when everybody was talking about cloud. And you know, when you mention cloud, everybody's looking up to see whether it's Nimbus or Columbus, I don't know what they're called. But AI has come to revolutionize the way we do things, the way we see things. And it's not, it will touch every industry, it will touch everybody who's doing anything with technology. So anything that you're doing digitally will be impacted by AI. Just today, as I was coming in, I got a prompt that one of the big AI companies has just announced a new language model which can help you, it can generate a podcast. So you just give it text and it will generate a podcast, including putting in music in there, bringing in the different chapters, different episodes of your podcast. So AI is now everything, yeah? And we just need to be able to embrace it, no matter what you do as an individual, whether you're a fisherman, whether you're an artist, whether you're a trader, it touches on all of us and everybody, and every profession will be impacted by AI.
Thank you very much. Rachel?
Perfect. So as you were saying, so AI is already present in many everyday applications. It's like voice assistants, recommendation systems like Netflix, and in fields like weather forecasting and healthcare and transportation. It's also a rapidly advancing technology. And so I think one thing to thrive in an increasingly AI-driven world is understanding the technology is really important. And for me, a lot of that starts with education and supporting young people with AI literacy.
Thank you very much. Still on to you. Harry has talked about 10 years back, right? This is a conversation that we had foreseen 10 years back. So 10 years later, here we are today. And looking at it from 10 years from now, what is the investment we're able to do? Looking at the investment that Raspberry Pi Foundation has had in partnership with Techies Africa, in investment in education and digital learning to empower young individuals from as early as 11 years old to 14 years old. How do you foresee the long-term impact for this in terms of the local economy promotion of the coast region?
Sure. So just building on that a little bit, so we run a program called Experience AI. It's an educational program that provides resources on artificial intelligence and machine learning to students aged 11 to 14. And we provide teachers with all of the support, including lesson plans and presentations and everything they need to run it in schools. In terms of the future and what that creates, is it creates a generation of innovators who have built critical thinking skills and can think about how they use AI as a tool to solve problems in their local community and to build local innovation. It also supports them to critically evaluate AI technologies and make informed decisions and to shape how AI is used in the future.
And 10 years from now, how do you see that integrating or promoting the coastal economy?
So to give an example, to give an example, there are real-world use cases. So, for example, in agriculture, there's an AI application that identifies diseases in crops and provides advice on what pesticides to use. And so I think we're building a generation of young people with the knowledge, skills, and confidence to think about how can they solve local problems in their community using AI.
And how old are the young people that are developing these solutions?
11 to 14.
Very interesting. These are 11 to 14 years old people that are coming up with all these AI integrated solutions. So all the way to Bernard over there, who is representing the Communications Authority of Kenya. So communication infrastructure is the backbone of AI integrated. And how does the Communications Authority plan to expand the digital infrastructure in the country to ensure that there is AI-driven innovations that can drive both urban and rural areas within the coast region?
Thank you, Rukia. I think as a guy who is not attacking AI like my friends here, yesterday I think I had the best definition of AI. Is from the lady from Tanga. I think she said AI is a cake that waits to be decorated. So as CA, we manage resources. That's a frequent spectrum and numbers. So how are we decorating our cake so that the coast region can benefit? Currently, there are studies ongoing on dynamic spectrum access. This is informed by the fact that there is high demand of this finite resource called spectrum. And with such studies, we can deploy AI to do predictive utility of the spectrum. So you know this spectrum is in use, so someone else can, if you're not using it, someone else can make use of it. And now to the coast region, the locals need to decorate the cake, or now they want the cake to be served to them. So, and AI can only work if there is availability of data from the locals. And what CA is doing, there is a lot of collaborations going on with the organizations in the local communities. I think we were in a meeting with the MD there, working with the Tech Kids Africa. So we need to know what is this that they're doing in the coastal region so that we can map it to, or now we're going to decorate this cake from CA.
Thank you very much. He's brought about something very important, and that is on the resource management. It is one thing to be able to own your data, but how can the data that we have, of course, by following the guidelines of the Office of the Data Protection Policy, to ensure that all of this is integrated to make informed decisions and innovations around the country. So a question to you, Francis. How does the Kenya National Innovation Agency, and a lot of people in the crowd might not really be able to understand what exactly is the primary role that you're doing. So how do you think Kenya is able to view AI as a catalyst for innovation in the coast region, and what initiatives are in place for Kenya to support this?
Thank you once more, Rukia. So maybe I should say from the onset that the Kenya National Innovation Agency, which is indeed actually government, views AI as a tool for growth of innovation, and as a tool for actually, through growth of innovation, as a tool for economic growth, ultimately. And so at Kenya, probably what we do, and it's not really fixed to AI, I would categorize into three things. We do partnerships and collaborations, which I'll elaborate a little bit more. We also do, we also run some programs ourselves that actually help not only AI, but also other innovations across the innovation ecosystem. And also probably I'll touch on some little bit of of policy. So in terms of collaborations and partnerships, as the Kenya National Innovation Agency, we're working with various organizations in Matters AI. I saw on our panel list, we were supposed to have some person from Huawei, I think, some person from Huawei. I think we are doing a lot of work with Huawei in the AI sector. And just about early in the year, we were actually able to develop a hackathon where innovators who are in the hackathon were developing solutions in AI for people with disability. And happy to report that about 20 solutions were developed, most of which can actually be scaled. And we are still working that journey with the Huawei team. So those are part of the collaborations that we are doing in the AI sector. And probably when I'm talking about the programs that we run, I will talk about the latest program that we have, and I think it would interest the young innovators. We have the Presidential Innovation Award, which is actually an award that is scouting for ideas, for solutions across the innovation ecosystem. And I would advise probably the audience or innovators who are in the room to check out the opportunities that the Presidential Innovation Award has. We have opportunities in emerging technologies, including AI, which I think is an initiative which they can be able to tap in. Probably on the policy issues, we're also doing some couple of policy issues to support innovators, not only in the AI sector. Of course, AI as an emerging technology is within it, but we're actually pushing for we're pushing policies like the IP, the national IP policy, which I think will have some buy-in from AI. We are pushing the startup bill. We are pushing the creative economy bill. And so looking forward, I think these are the opportunities that people in the room and other people can tap in, because at the end of the day, they also roll down to AI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francie. You wrote about something very important. Yes, we were supposed to have Maureen Mwaniki from Huawei. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it this morning. But mostly what they do is support the government to enhance their government services. And you've talked about how we bring about inclusivity, especially for the persons with disability, on the government services that are actually being provided. And something very interesting about the Presidential Innovation Award, I know this was launched last year and there's an activation that's going on right now. There's actually a booth behind there for all the innovators around here who would like to be able to submit their innovations and be part of the Presidential Innovation Award. The booth is here that's running for the week that you can be able to support on that. A question directly to Harry over here. So from your perspective, when you talk about coastal economy, we cannot leave the business sector out of this. And when we want to promote the economy, we have to be able to integrate it. So how do you think the businesses, especially in the coastal region, are able to leverage on AI to improve their operations and efficiency without necessarily requiring extensive technical expertise?
That's very true. And I'm sorry, I'm mentioning a company. I don't like mentioning companies in forums like this because it appears like you're promoting them. But I like how Microsoft branded their AI. They call it Copilot. Yeah? And you see, AI is really a Copilot. So you're doing whatever you're doing. Reverend, you do what you do. But you can use AI to improve what you're doing. So, it becomes your co-pilot. You're still the pilot. But now you have assistance from an artificial tool that helps you do whatever you're doing. It's the same thing to businesses. You see, if I look at, like the fisheries and transportation, because, this is the blue economy generally. There's a lot of logistics business around. And all these guys collect tons and tons of data every day. Yeah? AI can help them to actually dig into that data and then come up with, informed decisions about how can they increase productivity, how can they improve efficiency based on just what they do. But there's a catch. There's a catch. Because you see, AI is like all the other technologies. You give it garbage, it gives you garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. So there's there's need for people to build new skills. Like, you know, nowadays there's actually a role called is it a position or is it a profession called prompt engineering? You know, there are people who just learn how to prompt the AI so that it gives you the most useful feedback. Because you see, especially on generative AI, if you give it, if you ask it questions which are too general, for instance, it gives you a general answer. But if you become more specific, then you get more specific answers. So you give it data, it gives you analysis. So there's a lot of things that businesses can actually leverage. You know, can use AI to give themselves, you know, a cutting edge, but also a leading edge in their own sectors. So I think businesses need to start thinking of how do they integrate. A lot of people, actually, people who are already using things like Office 365, they already have a co-pilot which, you know, helps them to answer their emails faster, maybe cleaner, because, you know, sometimes English is a problem. So it gives you better English, but it gives you better structure as well. Yeah, you can do that faster. You can churn out your proposals faster, you know, because, you know, so there's a lot of things that you can do with AI.
Thank you very much. I like how you wrote about the aspect of prompt engineering. I read an article some time back that it is not AI that will replace professionals. It is a person that is able to actually use AI that would be able to replace you. So you have to understand how AI works to bring about efficiency. Whether you're in business, you're in government, in terms of policy, operations, in the private sector, government, even us as development partners, it's very important to learn how to be able to actually integrate that and move with the fast-pacing world in the technology space as well. So a question to you, Rachel. You've mentioned a lot of programs that the young people are having, and you've been able to like spark creativity and innovation among them. How do you think these skills are able to contribute to the economic stability? I know you've given a few examples, but just to like put an emphasis on that.
Sure. So I think it builds on what we were talking about earlier, the idea of giving young people, and as they grow up, the tools to solve local problems. That's what we were talking a little bit about earlier, and thinking about innovation in the future. It also it creates inclusive voices. So it means that if everyone understands what AI is and how to use it, it means that problems and solutions and ideas come from lots of different types of young people from different backgrounds and walks of life, regardless of what schools they go to. I think the other part of it is the idea of working in partnership. So one of the things we do is we work in partnership with Tech Kids Africa and Mombasa County Government. And I think that's really important in terms of building an ecosystem for AI and supporting economic growth and innovation in the future.
I like that. That's very important. Partnership and collaboration plays a very critical role because technically, as an individual, as an organization, you need to be able to do everything because you're not an expert of everything. So being able to understand your niche, but also at the same time understanding how the collaborative ecosystem is able to come together and coordinate the resources to actually support this is very critical. I have a question to you, Francis. Considering we're in the coastal economy, and when we talk about the coastal economy, there are specific things that are able to drive this. In what ways can AI contribute to sustainable development in the coast region, particularly in sectors like fisheries, tourism, and infrastructure?
Thank you, Rukia. And you've actually mentioned the what would I call them? You've actually mentioned the niche of what is in the coastal region that AI can actually tap into. That is the fisheries, the tourism, and probably to some extent infrastructure. So in my opinion, if you probably look at and this is actually to the people in the room, probably the innovators or maybe the investors who are looking to tapping into opportunities that AI offers at the coast. So if you look probably at fishing, I would be interested to know probably what solutions or sustainable solutions are the innovators in the room creating to do with fishing. How are they using fish? How are they using AI to probably optimize to probably optimize or analyze data, so that then probably they can make maximum yields of fish, or probably how are they even using it, so that then they can manage probably overfishing and such aspects, so that then at the end of the day we are actually talking about sustainability. When you're talking about tourism, I would want to know what are the investors, or probably what are the innovators thinking about in the sector of tourism using AI. Predictive analysis, visitor experiences. What are the solutions in the room? What are the investors thinking about investing in those areas? If you talk about probably matters to do with infrastructure, we are in an age of climate change. How can we leverage AI at the cost to be able to manage for us, or rather to predict for us how our infrastructure would look like, or how it would adapt to the climate change issues? So I think those three areas basically need the focus of the innovators and the investors in the room to look at what is along the value chain where they can invest in, or where they can actually research on, so that then they can come up with solutions that are focused along the three sectors.
Thank you very much. A follow-up question to you. You've talked a lot about that bit of coordination. Sometimes it might be hard to have the private sector or the innovators do that, but the government is an enabler, and the government is able to convene, the government is able to guide this conversation. So as a government parastatal who is focused on innovation and promoting a bit of that, what do you think Kenya is able to do to support that side? Because looking at it from the perspective of like the companies or innovators and maybe the fisheries industry, they might not really understand how to integrate it, but how do we enable even the local fishermen or businessmen along the coastal region understand that AI is for them and it's actually going to make the business operations more efficient? What can Kenya do?
Thank you. I think part of what Kenya needs to do, and it's actually what you are doing, what is actually lacking is the information, probably. And what we are doing as an agency, I would talk about one thing that we are doing. We actually have something called an Innovation Academy, where we actually take people through trainings on various issues. Right now, we have, among the programs that we run, we actually run some program on AI. I think what Kenya should do, and it's actually what we are doing, is to actually convince stakeholders, take them through courses, or rather specific topics on AI that are specific to their sector. Probably if you're talking about the coast region, we will talk about topics which are specific to the coast region. Then this model can be cascaded down right to the local fisherman, who may understand who may understand it from your own perspective. That is what I think we should do, and it's actually what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So before we go to the last set of questions, to the audience in the room, if you have any question, once I'm done with the last round of the questions, we're going to open it up to the public. So a question to Bernard. How can AI be used to improve the delivery of public services and ensuring that we are able to make the government operations more efficient and accessible?
Thank you. How can AI be used to improve service delivery? I would look at it from the point, what service are we talking about? For example, government offers security. And for a local person to appreciate the security being offered is how responsive that security is coming to their aid. So AI and from a targeted deployment can help in turnaround time and response time to that service of security to them. I think the governor spoke about feeding program that they're offering ECD children at the same time, same quantity in every sub-county in this region, in the county government. So you see, with AI, you're able to do these targeted deployments and response to issues of the mwananchi. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'd like to channel the next question to Harry. And this is because you talked about 10 years back, so bringing back to like 10 years from now. We would like to plan ahead so that we're able to prepare and maximize on the opportunities that the AI is able to present on itself. So how do you envision AI transforming the coastal economic, and what do you think are the steps that the business sector would be able to take to prepare these changes? And when we talk about the business sector, it's from the large corporations to the MSMEs at the lowest level that are able to start integrating it.
Rukia, let me tell you this. In 10 years, and we can map it, we can put it in the calendar so that we can have this conversation after 10 years. Okay. But in 10 years from now, we won't be talking about AI. Because AI will be so embedded into everything we do that it will just disappear. You see, like what I talked about cloud. When the conversation about cloud started, everybody was talking about cloud. Even the companies that were selling cloud services kept on talking about cloud. But the cloud has been embedded in everything we do that we don't even think about it. Because you do your email, you don't do cloud email. Yeah? So that's where I see in 10 years how AI will be. It will be embedded, you know, like there are phones that are already coming out with AI embedded in it. So a lot of what we're seeing now is because we're still in the development phase, and that's why there's a lot of talk about AI this, AI that. But as we move forward, a lot of these things will be embedded in things that we do. Microphones like this will be, will have an AI chip or whatever that will make it better, and it will listen to my voice and tune itself so that I can sound better, you know. So it will be embedded in a lot of the systems that we're using. A lot of the equipment that we're using today will have embedded AI systems in them. But coming to business, it's so for businesses, really, if you're looking at, say, for instance, a transportation company, because there's a lot of transport, there's a lot of truckers that, you know, take stuff from the port all the way to Nairobi to Malaba, you know, all that, you know, that transportation system. A lot of those guys will now start becoming more efficient. You know, because now you'll be able to look at your data and maybe just to pause there and say one of the biggest investments as businesses will be to have clean data. Because you see, once you have clean data, then you're able to use AI tools to be able to give you, to help you actually make decisions. Yeah? And those decisions will be just as good as how accurate and how clean your data is. And therefore, businesses, I think, need to really, really invest on their data collection methodologies, making sure that whatever they're putting into their systems is clean. And therefore, when they expose that to AI tools, they're able to actually get accurate analysis, accurate analytics, and accurate decision recommendations. So I think the point to start is let's collect accurate data.
Thank you very much. That's very important. Data is powerful. Data is what informed us in a lot of the decisions that we're able to make. Even in terms of new policies or investment that the country is able to do, it's actually relying on data. So a question to Bernard. How can AI help coordinate resources in the different sectors? This is from government, education, and to actually have that integrated to bring about more efficiency in the economic development of the coast region.
Thank you. I think I'll pick it up from where you left. When you talk about AI, mostly people look at techies. Those are the guys for AI and us. But when you look at the subsectors like tourism, where are you going to get the data? You're going to get it from the local fishermen. If it's tourism, you're going to get it from tour guides and stuff like that. Now, AI is coming in terms of mapping the resources versus the need. For example, when you're going to fish, you need to do remote sensing and know where I'm going to make a good catch today. How are you going to do that? It has to have been some progressive data that you've been collecting over the years, the seasons, tides and stuff like that, so that you know on such a season and such a tide, I'm going to get a good catch in this area. You're going to map resources in terms of, for example, medical doctors. Where is the need for a surgeon today? It can easily be done using AI in terms of logging in the qualification of a doctor, where they are, and how and when the patients come up, and where they need the doctor. So it's in terms of the link between the available data and the resources available to address the needs of the society. So that's where AI is going to play a role.
Thank you very much for actually showing the coordination of the two and how that is going to promote the coastal economy. It clearly shows how data would be able to create a ripple effect in actually promoting the economic stability of a certain county. So we are about to open up the questions to the audience. So I'm just going to ask a question to Francis and Rachel before I do that. So Francis, from an innovation standpoint, how do you anticipate AI will shape the coastal economic 10 years from now, and especially on the aspect of policies that are necessary to support this? We know when it comes to government, policies are very important. So what policies are there currently, and what is needed to be done to be able to maximize on this?
Thank you, Rukia. Probably I'd like to just chime in to whatever my colleagues have said on the issues of data, and I actually hope also the people from the fisheries sector in the room. There's something that the National Commission for Science and Technology does, which is actually collecting some reports on data on what is happening on various sectors. And I know the fishery sector, rather, which is actually the driver of the coastal economy, is among the government parastatals that actually submit this data. And so I think it is important that if they are in the room, they are able to continually submit this data, which actually helps in planning and filling that gap that my colleague panelists are talking about. Otherwise, talking about the plan that we actually have as an agency, last year at the Kenya Innovation Week, we launched some document called the Kenya 10-Year Innovation Master Plan, which is just a document that envisions how our innovation ecosystem would look like and the interventions that we would be able to put to be able to grow our ecosystem to be where it's supposed to be. And talking about the 10-year innovation master plan, it addresses around 5 pillars. We have a pillar on human capital, basically talking about how we can capacity build the human resource, and it is capacity building across the spectrum, including in AI. Across the spectrum of innovation. We have a pillar dealing with access to finance, a pillar dealing with access to markets. How then, if innovations spring out from AI, how are we able to make them access to the markets? When you're talking about access to finance, how are we able to even get funding to be able to grow the innovations, or rather give some funding for innovations in AI and other sectors? There is also a pillar to deal with infrastructure, and I know infrastructure is a big challenge. Infrastructure in AI, it is something that we're envisioning in the master plan. We're just doing the second year of the master plan, trying to get partners around it, and we hope probably in the next 10 years there will be something going on with it. Of course, we have a pillar on policy. And like I mentioned in my initial, when I started speaking earlier on, I mentioned of some of the policies that we are trying to put up. The IP policy, we are struggling with the startup bill, which is actually at submission stage. We are also dealing with the creative economy bill. So I believe together with the 10-year innovation master plan, which we are doing a lot of work in, and which we also call on partners to join on board, I know we are going to take AI and innovation to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's good to know the government is actually putting some investments around that to support this. So last question to Rachel. A lot of the times when you talk about, AI, coastal economy, we forget the young innovators that we need to start investing in from now. And Raspberry Pi Foundation, in partnership with Tech Kids Africa, is doing a lot of work around that. What do you think from the partners and the government needs to be done to support a lot of these young people and innovators to be integrated from such an early stage?
Thank you. So as you say, we're already doing great work in this space. At the moment, I think we're supporting 60,000-ish young people with that. So I think one of the things we're interested in is how do we roll that out and how do we scale it to other coastal counties and then beyond into Kenya. So I think it's integrating computer science and AI into the education system through the competency-based curriculum, and then thinking about how can we scale that nationally.
Very much. She's brought about something that's very important, to be able to integrate that in our education system. So I'm opening the question to the audience. Do we have any few questions to the panelists? Yes, thank you. I know we have a question over there and a question over here.
Hello. I really have a very high voice, so I think I'm going to talk slowly. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is afternoon, right? Yes, good afternoon. So, my name is Samoita Chepkoech. As you can see, I'm a Kalenjin. Okay, so I know that today I'm learning about AI. Trust me, I just had some information but didn't get it deep. So today I've learned that the importance of AI is to make things simpler, okay, to be the co-pilot. That it will not make me as a person lose the job, but it will make it simpler for me. Like for example, we have the excellency where the governor said, if that is going to be impacted in the blue economy, it will be easy for those fishermen to know that upper kuna the fish. So it will be easy for them to go deep and their work is easier. Look at education. Madam Rachel said it will be easy for the teachers to do schemes of work. I know teachers in the house. Hey, how are you? I know the hardship in making schemes. Now, if we have a simpler way of at least just filling in details and then the schemes of work become simple, then it means that we need to come in as youths, not to be. I know that most of us youths don't want to lag behind. Like when we have this meme that says that we normally say our forefathers our forefathers were sleeping while others were taking lands. So let us not sleep. This AI will get bigger, and then by the time that we are waking up, it's already late. So let us not wait for it for 10 years to come, and then you are like, I wish I had known earlier and maybe integrated into the system. So thank you so much. So the last recommendation that I have for Madam Rachel, I know that you are teaching you said is 14 and below, right?
11 to 14 years old.
Yeah, please. Why don't you also start from 18 to 35? It is a humble recommendation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So that's a recommendation to Raspberry Pi Foundation and Tech Kids Africa. We have about 3 sessions. I think to make it easier, if you have a question, please come forward so that the one that's helping around is able to support on that.
All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Penina Nzoka, Communications Intern at Swahili Port Hub. My question goes to Bernard. Considering that Communications Authority, how does it deal with consumer protection for consumers who are using apps that are AI generated and ensuring their safety while using those apps? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's get the 2 questions and then we'll have the panelists respond everything at once.
Hello everyone, my name is Abla Ali, an international relations specialist and international lawyer. So I have an input on the education part. So for me, on my thesis, I used AI because you know the internet is so broad and it takes so much time. So I just put my thesis topic on it and I asked it to give me an outline and the chapters that I needed, and it really broke down and it helped me save time when it comes to going on Google or going deep dive in other internet, like Scholar internet. Yeah, and another thing is, I know of people who used AI to like help them with mental health issues, so I think it's very important as well, since we know mental health is very important, and some people can't afford the fee, so it's they give free AI information or whatever you need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's another recommendation. Let's have the last question before we have Bernard respond to the question to Communications Authority.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have a question, basically. Maybe I can use Swahili because I'm from Tanga, by the way.
Yes, please.
Tunahakikishaje AI ni salama kwa watumiaji? How do we ensure that AI is safe as we are trying to advocate for more AI, as we're trying to advocate for the use of AI? How do we make sure that it is safe? Because as we know, it can be manipulated, it can be used to cause harm. Yeah, basically.
Very good question on safety, and especially when we had a lot of conversation about data and data privacy up here. I know we had one last question. Are you still going to ask the question? Yes, please.
Hello. I have two questions actually. So one is about AI and being inclusive as far as knowledge is concerned. So when you talked about, when he said about the importance of having fishermen actually giving the knowledge around the information that's going to involve them, there is an element of AI. Let's say we hear issues like AI is, let's say, racially biased. Yeah, we hear where AI is able to recognize particular races and not others. But let's take it further and talk about culture. Is AI culturally inclusive? Where somebody from India, somebody from Kenya, somebody from Australia, they'll be asking the same questions and getting the same answers, wiping out different cultures and different responses that would have applied to different spaces. So my question is, do we have actions that's being taken to ensure that different cultures are sort of like preserved as we move towards everybody depending on AI to getting the information? The other question, the last one is, there is also the element of, so I'm an artist. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I am Zainab Major Adam, and I am a filmmaker and a photographer. And I also used to write. I don't write anymore as often as I used to, and we know why, right? So my question, there's this saying that artists usually say, one of us said it, I wish AI could create tools that would help me do my dishes and do the cleaning so that I can paint and draw. But now AI is doing that for me, yeah? So do we have, does anybody in the AI space worry about AI eventually coming to a point where it's thinking for us? So we don't do our homework anymore. We type in our questions and then it does the whole essay for us. We don't research, AI is opening our doors, it's driving our cars. So what's the end goal of AI? Eventually, where do we want AI to take us really? AI is going to help the fishermen see where the fish is, but are we fearful that AI is going to eventually come and do the fishing? So now our fishing culture is going to be gone. So I guess I'm curious to hear your thoughts about that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's have the panelists respond to those questions before we close this panel.
Okay. Consumer protection. As the ICT regulator, what we do is to make sure there is an enabling environment for innovators first to thrive. Make sure that your innovation sees the light of day. Then, at the same strength, we do what we call consumer protection. And how we do it is in terms of making sure the products that come into the market, they have every consumer at heart. In terms of content, what are you doing in that platform of yours? Is it palatable to even the young children? And if it does not, what measures have you put in place to make sure that the children are protected? Number two, in terms of other stakeholders, now the caregivers, the older generation, is to make sure that there are controls available for them to turn off the content they don't want to. For example, AI is coming into the market now. What is he doing? We are giving a market for innovators to deploy AI wherever they want and how they want, but with a sense of protection to the consumers of this AI. And further to that, I think the Office of Data Protection Commissioner has some measures in place. I think we can check with them on other measures that are in the market in terms of protection of the consumers.
Thank you very much. I think there was another question to you specifically to CA, the first question. Yeah, it was that one, okay.
Let me attempt the question on, especially the artists. This has been going on since Midjourney and the generative AI tools came into being. AI is your co-pilot. It is really, which means if you're an artist, it can make you, or it can help you to generate your music faster, possibly better, but it cannot do it on its own. It requires you. So you're the person who actually will generate or will prompt Midjourney to give you a picture. But on its own, it can't do that. Yeah, so you're still the pilot. How far AI will go, nobody knows, because it's an evolving technology. But I think what technology does generally is it makes humanity better. That's my strong belief. The technology comes to make our work easier, comes to improve our lifestyles. It comes to make our life on Earth better. That's what I truly believe. Now, as I said earlier, AI depends on data. Yeah? All the decisions, all the outputs that AI gives you is based on the data that it has been trained on. Okay? Now, if we as Africans do not train AI on who we are, what we are, our culture, our cultural practices, if we don't train AI on those things, it won't know. So the onus is really on us to generate as much data as possible about who we are, what we do, what we want, how we want to be seen, so that we have representation in the data sets that AI is checking when doing whatever it's doing. So I think we need to build data sets, and you can see already people are already starting to create their own GPTs. Like I saw a GPT on during the Mandamano. I think there was a GPT on the finance bill. Yeah. So if you wanted to really dig into the finance bill and understand what it is, you go to that GPT and you get all your information about it. So how about creating a GPT on Kaya? What is a Kaya? What does it mean? Yeah? Or a GPT on Mombasa County, because that's how we train the data that, the AI to start looking at us based on the data that we feed it. So I think that cuts across a few of the questions, but I want you to remember one thing. These technology trends are unstoppable. They are unstoppable. So you can choose not to use ChatGPT, you can choose not to use AI, but people will use those tools to benefit themselves. They'll use those tools to advance their careers. They'll use those tools to advance their businesses. So it's really a choice that you need to make. Thanks.
Thank you very much. AI is a co-pilot. It is not the main pilot, and it lies upon us and our own personal responsibilities in how we would want to leverage on that. Whether it's in integrating the African languages or the African culture to be able to represent that. I know yesterday we had a panel on how AI can enhance the African languages, and we have partners like Vambo AI, Jasiri, this ICT Authority of Zambia, among others that are actually around the conference that are looking specifically into such component. So thank you very much. I would like to close this very interesting panel discussion. So as we close it, 1 minute to every panelist, please give a parting shot of this panel today. Every single partner who is joining us in the room or virtually, what are you telling them about AI?
Sure. So to summarise some of the conversations we've had today, I think it's really important to integrate AI into education for young people and to have the tools to critically evaluate AI applications going into the future.
Thank you. Harry?
I think for me is just to reiterate what I just said earlier. I feel like we missed the internet revolution. We missed it, and a lot of people benefited from it. You know, a lot of the companies that built stuff during the internet boom really benefited from that. I think this is our opportunity to not be left behind. I think there's an opportunity for us because it's just at the beginning, and we are now aware of it. I think let's not miss this bus.
Thank you. Somebody had mentioned something, just as a parting shot, something to deal with the regulation. And I know probably as an agency, we are leaning on the Ministry of ICT, who are actually doing some work on the AI strategy for the country with GIZ. And so it will be interesting also to see what comes out of the strategy. Otherwise, as a parting shot, I would say that AI won't replace managers, but managers who don't use AI will be replaced by the managers who are using AI. Thank you.
Technology has a bias. If you let someone else decorate the cake for you, you're going to eat what they have decorated. So as a coastal person, decorate the cake the way you want it to be and have it the coastal way.
Thank you very much. With opportunities comes responsibility. So thank you very much. A round of applause to my panelists for making this discussion very, very interesting. And I think we have been able to achieve an objective with it from a testimony from the first participants in how they understood about AI and how that can be integrated across the whole sector. So thank you very much for having this interaction very interesting and having the audience understand that AI is for everyone and we need to embrace it. As we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rukia Janwala and I'm the Head of Partnership and Resource Mobilization and the moderator of today. We have Rachel Bennett from Raspberry Pi Foundation, Hari from CAO Africa, Francis Okwara from Kenya, which is the Kenya National Innovation Agency, and Bernard, who is from the Communications Authority of Kenya. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Before you go off stage, let's have a group photo.
Thank you so much, Rukia, for that very, very educative session. So, group photo, then we go to the next segment. So give it up once more for the team. Thank you, thank you. So in this segment, we're talking about a very interesting topic. How many love food in here? We all love food, Sindio? We all love cooking. How many love cooking now? Not the food. How many love cooking? So this next segment, we're bringing you somebody who has innovated something that will make cooking more fun and cooking more interesting for you who said that you love cooking. So without talking any more, I want to welcome on stage Zubeida Khalifa, the Plastic Energies Limited representative. Karibu sana Zubeida. Give it up for Zubeida. Come on, guys. We said we love cooking. We give it up for the lady who's making cooking fun for us. Thank you so much for joining us. Just come sit next to me, tafadhali. So, Zubeida, I know I have already introduced you. I've mentioned your name, but I'm going to give you a few minutes to introduce you and also introduce your business.
Thank you so much first for the amazing introduction. Again, my name is Zubeida Khalifa, and I am a student at Technical University of Mombasa doing public health. And apart from that, I'm also an entrepreneur and a co-founder at Plastic. And we have two global problems, and that's plastic waste menace and unsafe cooking fuels. So what we do at Plastic is converting plastic waste into clean cooking energy, which is affordable and eco-friendly. I say we are affordable because we are 40% cheap than the normal cooking gas. Yeah.
So thank you about that. So I had a conversation with Zubeda before she came on stage, and we had a very interesting talk. She was telling me about the products that she makes at Plastic, and I asked her to bring that product on stage. So if you see something on stage, this is what Plastic does. And I know she has already talked about the fact that she's solving two global problems: plastic waste and affordable cooking fuel. Now, I know you have already talked about that, but I want you to give us a brief description of what your business does specifically, how you came up with this. Tell us a bit more about your business.
Okay, so a brief description of how Plastic was birthed. So growing up, we've always observed that the community around us, specifically low-income households who cook with firewood. Like firewood is the main source of cooking fuel. They normally add plastics to accelerate the rate of burning. So like viewing this, it like sparked a sense of curiosity in us, thinking if such a crude application of plastics could produce energy, then like how far can it go if we take the idea further? That's what birthed Plastic, yeah.
You know, I heard that you are a student at TUM, but you do not take anything to do with the gas or cooking. You're actually somebody who's doing something to do with community. How did that, what happened? How did you end up in this industry?
Actually, we're solving an environmental problem of plastics pollution. It does align with what I'm doing, public health. It's like the health of the public, yeah.
Thank you so much. Now talking about Plastic, what do you think is the biggest milestone you've had as a company, as a business, as a brand?
I would say the biggest milestone is actually coming up with the functioning prototype, like a functioning prototype, and then going further and doing a pilot on it. And for the last 1.5 years, we've been able to raise close to $70,000 and collected nearly 5 tons of plastic waste. So we've removed 5 tons of plastic waste from the environment. And also produced to over 1 ton of cooking gas in our research and development.
Wow, yeah. Those are very, very interesting and very amazing numbers to hear. So all that. Tell us now, the fact that you've been in Pwani Innovation Week, this is the second day, but I know that you've also been involved in it during the challenge time and all those times. How has that experience been like?
Okay, the experience has been amazing to say. So far, it's just the second day, and see, one of the challenges we are facing is credibility. See, I'm just 21 years old, and my other co-founders, they're 22, 23, so it's a bit skeptical for most people we are dealing with a sensitive product, gas. So most people, they're a bit skeptical on it, especially that we are young. So we've been able to get leads, networks on helping with that. For instance, we've gotten somebody who's ready to feature us in the news. So I'm sure that's going to help us with the credibility issue. Yeah.
That is amazing. Give it up for Zubeda. I think she's doing a very amazing work. Now, speaking of the fact that you have 40% less pricing on your product. We all know the prices in the market when it comes to the normal gas. But yours, umesema, it's 40% less. Tell us, is it possible to get it now?
Okay, so now it's not possible to get it for now, because for us to be able to actually sell the cylinders of cooking gas to our customers, we need to have a refiller license, which is something we are still navigating on the regulatory requirements. But the mode we can have our gas get to our customers is through our community kitchen model, which we are working on. And the model works in a form where you come to our facility. It's like a kitchen setup, just like your kitchen at home. You come, use our gas, and pay for the meals you cook using our gas for as low as 60 shillings.
Just 60 bob, I've made my dinner, my breakfast, and I go home with my cooked food.
Yes, exactly.
Please, now talking about that, how has that experience been like? Have you started the model yet in the community?
Yeah, so now we are rolling out our beta program, which is going to be something like giving our cylinders to small business owners, have them use it and give us their feedback so that we can iterate more on the product. Yeah.
That is very amazing. So I know you have a tent right there. Please tell us where it is, because I know the people who love cooking in the auditorium will be visiting you very soon.
Yeah, we are near the farthest end. One of the booths, there's a banner, Plastic Energies Limited, and you'll see the cylinder there. Please, I welcome you all to come see the magic we are creating.
Thank you so much. And I believe in the tent you'll also be doing some, you'll light up the fire probably. Are you going to make us lunch today? Are you going to?
Maybe boil water, make tea. Yeah, please come see the demonstrations there.
Thank you so much, Zubeida. That was a very, very interesting session. I think you can see the amazing things that we Gen Zs are doing, right? So I hope those who raised up their hand and say that they love cooking, you're going to visit their booth over there, see what this gas does, and probably if you can lend any sort of help when it comes to regulations, as she said, please visit our booth, because we're here to build each other and we're here to make sure that each one of us succeeds. Thank you so much, Zubeida. So any parting shot to, these are your potential clients, any parting shot to them?
Yeah, I would say buying a gas from us is not just about you cooking and enjoying the process of cooking. It's about climate resilience, because you are going to save marine life in the ocean who would have possibly died due to plastics microchips. It's about protecting and preserving our forests, which are being cut every day to provide firewood. So yeah, it's not just about cooking, it's about saving the world.
Thank you so much. And did we mention that this is made in Kenya? Did we mention that? This is made in Kenya. So thank you so much, and I hope that this my amazing audience will be visiting your booth soon.
Thank you,
Karibu sana. So that was Zubeida from Plastic Limited with a very, very amazing innovation. So we are going for lunch. But before we do that, I have a few announcements to make. So in the afternoon, we'll be having 2 sessions running concurrently. One will be here, which will be the Hot Pot. How many know the Hot Pot show, Swahili Pot? Podcast, Hot Pot show. Nobody knows about that? Nobody knows about that? Anyway, so we will be having that running here, and they will be doing a live recording, so you can come here and enjoy that. They'll be talking about orange economy. There will be a video that will play immediately after I leave to talk about that. We will also be having something else running. Sorry about that. We will also be having something else running in the amphitheater. 2 actually. One that will be talking. Oh yes, smart cities integrating IT and AI for sustainable urban development in the amphitheater. So in the afternoon we have a lot. Make sure we meet here, then we will separate. We will go to where our interests are. So thank you so much. Let's go for lunch.
This is where innovators and investors meet. So Pwani Innovation Week is an event done by the youth, for the youth, and to the youth. We will have different keynote speeches, we will have investors, we will have exhibitors. And today, for the program, we're having 2 different workshops. We're having plenary session, and of course, Swahili Pot is known for the art. We're going to have performances too.